The following radio program you're about to listen to is provided to you, the listener, by Inked Geek Studios. Get this and other great shows at inkedgeekstudios.com.
STFU is advice from the ill-advised. It explores ideas and themes that may be adult in nature. Unfortunately, the hosts are anything but. Limits will be pushed, language will be offensive, and nothing will ultimately be learned. So if you can handle it, let's have some fun.
We sent a man to the moon and then we sent a baboon to the White House. I guess we thought it was worth a shot, but who knew? The astronaut got some rocks, took a shot and got back into orbit. But he was shocked when he saw all the politicians flinging poo. So goodbye, planet, would it be okay if I got on my knees and I started to pray? Goodbye, planet, Earth, I got nothing to say except thanks for Kevin Reeves on the stage.
Welcome, all you sexy motherfuckers. It's time to STFU. I am your host, Corey. With me is my friend, N-word, Nate Ward.
N-Ward.
And Brandon is on assignment.
He's on something. Hey, Corey, what's up? It has been, Christ, almost a month since a podcast.
Yeah, we started doing this show during the Bush administration, the first one. And then after 1.5 episodes, it receded like my hairline.
It did.
And
It did.
like,
Dude, mine's so bad. Screw privacy. Let's just talk about getting old and find a solution for it.
there is no solution.
No, I know.
It's called death.
It's called death. Death is the
Just make way for the next generation.
Perhaps death is the final solution.
I like to think that or whiskey.
Yeah. So no. Full disclosure, my ex went to the hospital 2 days after the last recording of STFU. So what was supposed to be Mind of a Geek that Friday, and then everything the last 2.5 weeks following has been scrapped because I've been out of work on medical leave and couldn't do shows. So yeah, things are on the up and up. I am off medical leave. I'm going into my weekend and I go back to work Friday. So here we are. It just happened to be that my first day off leave happened to fall on Tuesday. So for those that listen to all of our shows, you're getting 2 STFUs in a row. One thing I want to do really quick, because this is the first show we've done since this partnership. So I want to mention on all the shows. I want to give a big shout out to the guys over at The Blade Job. They are a Massachusetts-based indie and mainstream wrestling podcast. They are great guys. Brandon and I got to hang out with them at the last Limitless Wrestling event here in Westbrook, Maine. And they go to a lot of these shows in Massachusetts. So they are now part of our mega feed. All 21 of their last episodes are there. And you can find out more about them at thebladejob.com. So if you're into wrestling at all, or just if you enjoy listening to me and Corey, or me and Brandon, or I can not be a douchebag and say that appropriately. If you enjoy listening to Corey and I, and Brandon and I, then you'll like these guys. They're a ton of fun. They tangent. The show starts in one place and ends in another, so it's very similar. It was just very natural for us to all work together. So again, thebladejob.com. Go check them out, and you can hear all their shows on the mega feed. And that is it for pimping.
And if you're wondering what the fuck this show is about, because, I mean, I couldn't really explain it to you at this point. It's one of those magical moments where I came in with an idea, and then Nate and Brandon said, hey, let's take that idea and do this with it. And then somehow or another, we talked about butt sex the first episode. So
we fucking did, didn't we? That was like a month and a half ago. Fuck, that was like 2 months ago.
Yep.
That's fucking
Somebody
nuts.
should probably rinse off by now.
Yeah, I would hope
Here's
so.
a nice
Maybe.
force
That's where
bath.
Brandon is. He fucking caught something. He's off getting like insulin shots or some shit. He OD'd on insulin.
Yeah, that's how you cure that happens.
Not
Insulin.
insulin. Sorry, my uncle's diabetic. I've been dealing with that for a while.
I've got chlamydia. Well, then have a Kit Kat. That's fine. Just walk it off.
Oh, fuck. Why can't? What the fuck is the thing that was the thing? Like, oh, you got VD, shoot this in your ass. Like, what was the thing?
I don't know.
It was like, oh, penicillin.
I've never been prescribed shoot something in my ass. So
penicillin. See,
Okay.
insulin, penicillin. See, they're close. They rhyme. It could be a poem.
is penicillin your prison mate?
No. No, I don't.
That doesn't sound like doctorly advice.
I don't shove penicillin in my ass.
This show is Solutions to Fix the Universe. It's where we talk out different problems as we perceive them, and hopefully come to some sort of recognizable conclusion at the end. Maybe we can fix it. Maybe we can't. Maybe it's just too bad for everybody involved. But hopefully we'll at least entertain you as we go along.
I hope so. I'm entertained.
Yeah, of course you are. You've been drinking nothing but cider for the last 2 weeks.
It's good stuff.
Yeah. Sobriety is way too painful. So Nate and I wanted to talk a little bit about privacy.
We did? How'd you know that? Have you been spying on me?
No.
Have you been invading my privacy? How did you know I wanted to talk about that?
I listened to you when you said before the show that you were okay
I
with
was
it.
totally trying to be funny and totally missed the boat.
No, I'm just fucking with you.
It was invading my privacy to find out. Never mind. I fail. We just lost like 90% of our listeners. So
this was a timely topic back when the show began.
No, it was. I mean, it still really is. I mean, Zuckerberg was on trial, but social media
not even on trial. Let's back that up.
That's true.
Because that's what a lot of people perceived is that. So hey, guess what? If you're on Facebook, you're fucked. Because anything that you do, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't have to be you. It could be your friends. It can be tracked and can be released to somebody that gets that information and does all kinds of fun stuff with it and sell your data. And you don't even know what that data is, really. It's up to you what's out there, but you've just been freeballing it this whole time. And somebody came by and said, oh, I like the smell of that testicle. I'm just going to bring that wafting over here to these cheese snugglers. And that's what they fucking did. So it got discovered that one, that's a thing that happens. And two, it happened several years ago. Facebook knew about it and didn't tell you anything and kept saying, hey guys, we kind of feel like you shouldn't have taken that data. Can you get rid of that? Oh, sure, Zuckerberg, we'll be glad to. And then they didn't. And then a few weeks later, guys, you got rid of that data, right? Uh-huh. Yeah, absolutely. Buy into it. Oh, great. I feel wonderful. I'm going to go out to the fucking woods and pretend like I'm a vegan. Then shit fell out. And America got all pissy and said, we're gonna hold your feet to the coals there, Zuckerberg. And they called him into Congress to talk for 2 days, where he just basically pointed at everybody and said, you know dick all about the internet. You know dick all about the internet. You know dick all about the internet. See ya, and peaced out. And that was it. It was never something's going to happen to Facebook. It was never you're going to have to pay a hefty fine for releasing all this data, because it never fucking is. Well, we live in a country where our government has no understanding about security, period. And two, doesn't want to fuck with American businesses when they're successful.
Right.
Except Amazon, because they had the balls to buy a newspaper. So
they did.
It's basically,
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah. Oh,
I know. I've been reading something about.
Not nice to our president, so the president hates Amazon.
Yeah, because he fucked them over with the post office. I know that.
Yeah,
which in turn probably fucked over the post office.
We'll get into the post office another week.
So
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so obviously, like this was a thing, right? And there's an issue going on right now with everybody where, for what, I mean, even if you don't pick a source, if you go with any source, like people will read a headline, assume its contents, and then base opinions purely off the headline, which is a problem anyway. But then you go, so there's all of that happened within the past month or so, right? But privacy has been an issue for a while. in different ways depending on people's opinions of it. So, I mean, we talked in the quote unquote pre-show about the 1984 book and things like that, and like the government knowing everything. And it's been topics in movies. It's been topics in video games. It's obviously been topics in books and things like that. And we can certainly get opinionated later and what we feel about it.
I showed up opinionated.
That's perfectly fine.
I came prepped to talk.
But no. And I can't wait to hear it. And I cannot wait to divulge my opinions on it. But what I'm curious is, and I guess this is opinion because it's personal to each one, but when it comes to a privacy or a lack thereof, of privacy or lack thereof, like, what do you find are the biggest flaws or perhaps the biggest risks in a society where individual citizens do or do not have personal privacy within their lives? Or do you not feel like that's a problem?
I'm not going to say that I don't think that there's inherent problems. What my concern is that people don't recognize the problems for what they are, or see the problems throughout the symptoms. So going back a few years, there was several big cases of companies losing credit card data and opening up, and Target had to make apologies and make restitutions, and Best Buy had to make restitutions. Home Depot had to do this. And then in this last year, we had the Equifax problem because Equifax dumped all of their shit out there and so many people's information that they don't even easily have access to leaked out. And Equifax not only didn't get actually punished, they made more money on the deal because as a private company, they said, we'll provide you a solution to keep this from being an issue for you in the future by selling you this fucking service.
Right.
That's basically like someone coming up to you and saying, shit, someone just broke your window. Yeah, I saw you. It was you with the fucking bat. Well, you should fucking pay somebody so that your windows don't get broken next time. I'll take $50 right now and 50 every Tuesday. Pacific time is when we record this show. Guard your windows. It's like an extortion racket because in the end of the game, Equifax still gets to continue doing what it does without much oversight. There are 3 companies that are in charge of the credit ratings, and they all kind of do their own thing about it. But if you think there's no collusion between them, you're fucking wrong. And if you think the government's doing anything to crack down on them, guess what? You're still wrong.
So I think that takes it to a different place. When I personally think of the lack of privacy that I'm okay with, and maybe they're the same issue, and if they are, let me know. Or if you have an opinion, tweet at us or email us, and we'll go over all that at the end of the show. We're gonna make you listen. But I don't look at financial privacy the same way that I look at what's going on in my personal life. Like, yes, I want my bank account numbers being kept private, and the companies that I give those to, I expect them to, because to me, that's not them protecting my privacy. I mean, again, it is, I guess, but I look at that as they're protecting my well-being. They're making sure that I'm not being stolen from. They're making sure that depending on my credit score or my bank account or whatever, they're making sure that my life isn't being upended for 7 years. That's what they're doing. They're not, quote unquote, protecting my privacy. And
it's sort of the same thing.
But see, when I hear the argument, or when I make the argument, it's that, okay, so let's micro macro a little bit here, right? So you have your bank account, right? And you're not going to divulge over the internet how much money is in your bank account, because that's a private.
Oh, I can divulge. It's very low.
So, and that's a private thing, right? And even right there in the chat, Amy says, agreed. There's a big difference between knowing my credit card numbers and then knowing that I took 35 BuzzFeed quizzes. last month. And I would even correlate those maybe a little bit more. I would say that there's a big difference between knowing my credit card numbers and knowing what I spend my money on. I don't care if you know what I spend my money on. Why do I care? Unless I'm buying something illegal. And if if you're doing things illegal, you lose your right to privacy.
But it's not just legal stuff anymore, because one of the things about Facebook and Google and Amazon and a whole bunch of other companies that have basically treated us like the product is that
we are a product.
Your value is in the things that you shop for. Your value is in the things that you do normally. So they're stealing from you. Now, you may not be able to...
Not really. That's the terms of service that you agree to when you sign up for a free account.
But we created this and allowed it for a period of time because we didn't understand the value of it to begin with. If someone had said how much our data was worth going in, maybe we would have had the opportunity to say no. But what they're doing is they're stealing from you to give to other people. The terms of service, yes, at first, maybe, okay, we get to collect this data and we get to use it with our partners. But when they start adding in partners and you don't get to have any knowledge of who those partners are, it's kind of theft. When they start tracing you, not when you're on their site, but when you go to other sites or when you do other things, or just generally when you're driving around in your car, that's theft of your personal life.
But what are they stealing?
That's the thing, is you don't know. And that's part of the problem, is that there's no transparency in it. But when you look at, now you're saying, okay, what does it matter if I'm not doing anything illegal? Well, you spent the last week drinking alcohol, which is fine, perfectly within your legal rights to do. But if your
I love how you made that, took that completely out of context and made it sound like I've just been drunk for the last week.
That's kind of how you made it sound when we talked about pre-show, but whatever. I'm just going to say, if that information got leaked from, say, Facebook to your health insurance company, and your health insurance company says, well, shit, this guy's consuming a lot of popcorn and cider. That's not healthy at all. I think we're going to have to up his rates. Then you're going to see an ill effect from something that you did nothing legally.
Except for the fact that the only way anyone would know that, I mean, I guess I said it over Hangouts, so now Google has access to it. So I guess I'm fucked. But
Target has access to it if you bought the stuff at Target. Your grocery store has access to it.
And that's true.
It's the idea that
and meanwhile, popcorn and cider companies start hitting him up with emails.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what?
Sponsor the
Derek,
fuck out of us.
That's Derek, right? Sometimes geek. Yeah, that's Derek. I'm glad you mentioned that, because let's tangent a little bit here. This is a big thing that comes up with privacy, and it's one that I have no fucking clue why people have a problem with it. Targeted advertising. Why is there such a problem with targeted advertising? For me personally, when I go onto Amazon and I'm like, you know what, I could use a new airbrush, or I could use a new mouse, or maybe I want some sticks of RAM for my tower, whatever. And I look and I'm like, man, you know what? Like I pull the item up on the page. So I'm on the items page on the store. I'm looking at it. And I'm like, you know, I don't have the extra $100 right now, whatever. So I close the page, and then I go like to read the newest article on Cracked, which I wouldn't do because they fired all their writers and they suck now. So fuck Cracked. But I go and watch Cody Johnston's personal YouTube account because he was the one of the, anyway, whatever. And then on the side of YouTube, or in the YouTube video, like the ad I get is an ad for RAM, or an ad for an airbrush. And it's like, hey, we saw that you were looking at this 30 seconds ago. So we used our cookies and our data to give you an ad that gives you 20% off. Would you like to change your mind about buying it? And people will complain about that. They'll be like, they're stalking me. But why? Like, why is that bad? Like, would you rather get that than like, do you want to be like, I don't know. I mean, I can't make an example, but do you like, if you're going to see advertisements on the web, what you're going to do, because it's the majority of the income for the majority of people who put things on the web, other than content creators, but ads are a big revenue. It's Facebook, it's Super Bowl, it's everything, TV, everything is ads. Would you not rather see ads that make you go, oh yeah, no, I wouldn't mind that, and it entice you to purchase it.
If targeted ads were better at what they do, maybe. But the
How
problem
so?
is, well, so you mentioned Amazon. So you go to Amazon and you look at a couple things. Now, maybe you're looking those things for yourself. Maybe you're looking those things for a gift for somebody else. Maybe you're looking those things for work. I have to go on Amazon all the time to order stuff for work. I get so much shit with Amazon sending me mailers all the time about stuff that I would never personally need or have interest in, but it's based off my work. Say I bought a gift for a niece, and all of a sudden I'm getting bombarded on every fucking page left and right with Barbie dolls. One, people are gonna have a fucking problem if they check over my search history because they're gonna think this guy's fucking looking at Barbie dolls all the goddamn time. Again, nothing legally wrong with that. But I lean towards My Little Pony. It's just, again, it's an arbitrary thing to say the targeted advertising is working out. Sometimes it is, but it also then places you in a position where you're only seeing the shit that you already buy. Then you're not getting targeted for things or advertise things that maybe you haven't thought that you could buy.
Okay.
I don't know how good it is, how vital it is. Plus, if you just bought it, do you need to be advertised about it for the next week until you
and that's
already got
okay,
it in your
and
fucking hands?
but that's not a matter of the privacy problem. That's a matter of just the technology needs to be refined. As far as the Barbie fetish problem that you brought up, it's
I didn't say it's a problem. People like what they like.
yes, tracking more information would make it better.
Toys R Us.
And Derek, I know that seems counterproductive for people who are anti, but yes, tracking more information would make it better. If they had a way to track whether I made that purchase so I wouldn't see ads for it for a week, that would make it better. But people would complain about that. Why? Like if I buy my vape juice online, like I want ads to be able to track that I bought, okay, every 2 weeks I buy 120 milliliters of vape juice, which means I go through about 120 milliliters every 2 weeks. I'll spend, let's say, $60 on 120 milliliters. So when it comes up on like day 10, show me an ad for like 20% off vape juice because I'm going to be buying it in 4 days. Like,
be good at it. Give us best case scenario. Beautiful. But if that vape juice ad is again being perceived by people in charge of your health insurance or people who say
they'd be happy I'm not smoking.
Isn't Nate a parent? Should we worry about the fact that he has vaping equipment so close to young children? Because that's the kind of things that we're talking about, is losing your ability to control your privacy and other people having access to it and them making their own judgments on it. Because you don't get to control the narrative.
Making judgments, yes. Making decisions that affect my life, a la my health premiums going up or getting dropped, or my account numbers being leaked out. I think those are two different things. I do not
steps in the direction.
I don't look at, okay, first off, I have to say something that Amy said in the chat because it was great. She said, my CVS card prints out a tampon coupon a week before I'll need it. It keeps better track of my cycle than I do.
Yes. There was a woman who found out she was pregnant because Target started advertising stuff to her for baby stuff because she hadn't been buying her cycle stuff. And they were like, oh, maybe you should invest in baby bottles and diapers.
How is that not good?
Because she didn't know. It's creepy.
Well, you know what? If the targeted advertising can know before you do, maybe you need to keep better track.
And what if she hadn't decided to have it?
That's her. I don't know. I mean,
so it's kind of a targeted for her target.
A target advertising,
but not knowing or understanding the actual circumstances of her life, and like hitting her up with a bunch of stuff that she probably doesn't want to be looking at that point in time.
Yeah, you're probably not wrong. You're probably not wrong. Shit, where was I gonna go? What's up, zombie? How's it going, dude? Welcome to the show. Targeted advertising. Oh yeah, so they have to know more for them to be better. And again, that's because okay. So let's go into knowing more, because this goes into something else I mentioned I wanted to talk about. Is currency and spending and buying and selling and everything else, and trading things for blowjobs. Wait, what? So, no, I am all for. I hate cash. I hate cash. I have a family member next door who will say like, "Hey, can you run and like get me like orange juice and a bag of chips or something?" And he'll be like, "Oh, here's $5." I'm like, I don't want cash, because then I have to like pull up my wallet and like, I want to tap my watch, use Apple Pay, and leave the store. Like, I don't want, just keep your money. I hate cash with a burning passion. And I am all for get rid of it. It's filthy. It costs us a fuck ton of money, considering the millions of dollars they spent to advertise that they changed the look of it. Like, come on, it's money. You don't have to sell it to us. Like, we all want it. It's okay. And it's untraceable. I see that as bad, that it's untraceable, because you have people who will buy and sell drugs. That's against the law. Let us trace money. It's not going to eliminate drug trafficking, but it will make it kind of fucking hard. Maybe we will be trading more blowjobs for things if you eliminate physical currency, because for illegal things, because there's
Actually, large currency is very traceable.
Huh?
Large currency is very traceable. Not seeing a lot of drug deals going down with 5s and 1s.
Well, no, well, fair enough. But I mean, but still, it can be laundered. Like, it's not a perfect system, but it's more doable than if they eliminated it altogether. If you make it so stores, banks, and everything, like if you make it so they just do not accept physical currency, then money laundering is gone. It also makes it so people can no longer work illegally. No more working under the table, which is against the fucking law. No more.
It's against the law in some senses.
But
when you've got the kid who fucking mows your lawn for $10 a week, ain't no reason to get taxes and pen and paper involved.
Which is where. Now I think you might have to make a.
Oh, is that the blowjob situation?
Yeah, that's the blow. Yeah. No, he just made that creepy. I think you might have to make over a certain amount in order to qualify. If you're making enough money to qualify to have to pay income tax mowing lawns, you want a kid mowing a lawn, you run a landscaping company. So,
right.
You know.
But then you're talking about eliminating currency so that it doesn't matter what level you're at. You know, it always has to go through a system. And then, dear God, what happens if that system gets hacked? What happens if the companies that are in charge of the currency system just let shit leak out?
You mean like banks that they are now? Like
digital currency is one more thing that, oh God, the ability to target that would be on everybody's fucking list. That's all we would have. Fuck white hat hackers. Everybody be like, this is where the real money is.
No, and again, it's hard. Like, I'm not saying it's a perfect system right now.
No, it's not a perfect system,
but it's definitely something that could be improved on, and it could be fixed, and I think would work out better. I'm very picky about where my money goes in a lot of ways, or at least how my money gets there. Like, I've been bitched at by people. I don't tip in cash. When I go to a restaurant, I will not tip in cash, because I know people who work at restaurants or who have worked at restaurants, and I know how many tips go unclaimed as income. No, I don't tip cash. I tip on card. So they have to claim every penny that I tip, because that's their income, and they better fucking claim it, because it's the law. Like,
but if the tip then gets split up to other people,
well, that's a matter of tipping. We can talk about that. I mean, I think tipping is stupid anyway. Just pay them all whatever the minimum wage is. Like, don't pay them $2 an hour and make them rely on tips.
I agree that the whole tipping thing.
Yeah, tipping is dumb. I think we're like one of the last countries that do it, and I think it's stupid. It's
that said, I tip generously, or as generously as I can.
No, I tip really well. I tip really well. I mean, you know, within my means. Like, if it's tax return season, you're gonna get bigger tips from me. But I tip well. I always try and do. I used to be a prick about it. When I was like, if my food sucked, if if my food sucked, the waiter got or waitress, or the server, or whatever. I don't know what's the politically correct term to call them now. Hostess, no,
Human
hostess
being.
hostess is the woman that gets sexually harassed at the front of the restaurant. Yeah, human being. No, like I would always blame them, be like, oh, my food was horrible. Like I'm blaming you, your tip's getting scrapped. But like, you realize like it's the kitchen. It's not their fault. Like if it comes out cold, it's their fault. If it comes out wrong, it's the kitchen's fault. Like, so, I mean, whatever, we're going way off tangent here, but yeah. So like when I tip plastic, and I use, and if you want to talk about like the hacking situation and future tech, right? Like, so when I go to a place that lets me, I pay for everything with my Apple Watch because I have Apple Pay on there. I have all my credit cards on there, and it's easier. I double tap a button, tap my watch, and it's paid for. It's the ease of technology, right? And every once in a while, I'll get some old people that are like in that 50, 55 and older crowd, who question or don't trust technology, and they're like, "Well, aren't you worried about that, right?" And it's like it's the safest way to pay. And not Apple or Android, but just using touchless tech is the safest way to pay because okay, so you mentioned Target. Wendy's was another big one that got hacked, and all the credit card numbers that were used there over like 6 months got leaked out.
Yet the most damaging thing can come from Wendy's is their chili.
Right. And the fact that their burgers are squared. Blasphemy. Anyway, if I use Apple Pay or if you use Android Pay or Samsung Pay or Google Wallet or whatever, any of these techs, none of them are more or less superior in this regard. So no fanboyism here. You are not sending over your credit card number. Think of it as, I know a lot of people listening are at least slightly familiar with two-factor authentication. It kind of became mainstream in gaming with Blizzard because Blizzard came out with the Blizzard Authenticator, and I think they were one of the first big ones to do it. And now it's everywhere. Google has Google Authenticator. You have an authenticator key for logging into Twitch. Like, it's everywhere. And its length or what it contains, whether it's just numeric or alpha characters, or if it's alphanumeric, or if there's symbols, like it depends on what service you're using. But it is a one-time, generated at the moment it's needed to be used token. If my security token to log into Twitch is ABC123, and I type that in to verify that it's me, you at that point cannot go log in as me and type in ABC123. You have to generate a new security key token. We all know how two-factor authentication works. That's what these do. When I tap even though I select my Bank of America card on my watch, when I tap my watch to the terminal, Apple Pay has created a one-time use token or a kernel or however you want to word it, that then gets transferred to the store, that store then sends to my bank, and then that bank transfers the money. It is done. It's not my credit card number. It's not my last four. It's not my social. It's not a routing number. It is a one-time token that is done after that use. So 3 months down the road, when that store gets hacked and everyone's credit card numbers are leaked, my credit card numbers aren't leaked. You know what's leaked? All my one-time use tokens, which have already been used. They're useless to everybody. So it's the safest way to pay for anything.
It is currently a very safe way to pay, but that is a problem of the technology, not necessarily the system. So we're very slow in this country to upgrade our systems. It's taken us a long time just to get the chip and pin.
Oh, I know. And then there's the proprietary thing too. Like Walmart won't take it because they have the Walmart app, and Target won't take it because they have the Target app. And like everyone, it's no different than Google. Like we just got a Nest in the house, but like I can't control it with HomeKit because Google doesn't want to work with Apple. But like I'm not going to get
I'm talking about privacy with someone who just got a Nest in the house and wants to use.
Dude, I can adjust my thermostat on my watch. It's wonderful.
It's amazing that everybody else can access that through your weak-ass network setup, but that's fine.
I have a very nice network setup. I have a lot of things to protect.
To protect? Oh, really? I felt like we started this conversation where you said your shit doesn't matter if it gets leaked out because you just get better targeted ads.
Okay. See, and I'm glad you went that direction with that. I was having convenience is the killer. Convenience will kill us all. I was having a conversation with somebody on Facebook, so I use the phrase conversation lightly. And I had said, like, privacy is overrated. Like, who gives a shit? Who knows what? And they're like, well, fine, tell me where you live. Well, that's a lot fucking different. Like, I don't mind if Google knows where I live. I don't mind if Apple knows where I live. Like, these are corporations. They have a reason to know. They want to sell me something. They want to sell me to somebody. Like, they want a demographic to know where to advertise things. Like, there is a business sense to know where I live. And
those corporations have no people that work for them at all. No individual user is any part.
But I refuse to let you make that argument. And the reason I refuse to let you make that argument is because I wouldn't say I'm pro corporation, but I'm not anti corporation. And
me either.
The people that are anti corporation are people who look at them as they look at the corporation as living entities, and it's almost like the same thing with being anonymous in YouTube comments or Facebook comments or Twitch comments. It's the anonymity. Wow, I haven't said that word right in years, but I always try. And people don't look at them, but these companies are run by people. They're people doing a job. They're people with families. They're people who need to make a wage. They're people who have to earn, and they're simply trying to better their business.
Absolutely. And all of those people have individual beliefs and individual moral characteristics,
right?
And individual ideas as to what's okay and what's not okay. And so because of that, any one of those corporations can be opened up to impropriety from one random user, from one person who's got access and decides, I'm okay with taking this.
Right. But people will, like, okay, so really quick, so the whole Amazon Apple thing not getting along for a while because Apple wants a 15% cut of everything sold through their services, and Amazon didn't go with that for a while till they realized they lost a bunch of money and now are working with Apple again. And everyone's like, oh, well, Apple tries to fuck people over. Apple tries to fuck people over. Apple isn't fucking alive. Like, Apple isn't a living entity, or at least not that we know of. Like, maybe Steve Jobs is an android, which would be amazing because Tim Cook, I mean, I was going to say Tim Cook sucks, but he's gay, and then that could be taken as a gay joke, and I don't want to do that. But no, Tim Cook is great, but Apple is not a living entity. Apple cannot suck.
That's like, God damn it. I don't understand what you mean that Apple is not a living entity because it's made of living entities.
The people do. Say Tim Cook.
That's like saying you add a billion fucking cells and then become a robot. It's still a billion living things in there. It's not Voltron.
Right, but people say Apple as a corporation, and I don't like it when people dehumanize corporations.
But you just said it's not a living entity, so you're dehumanizing it.
No, I'm dehumanizing Apple and Android and Amazon. Like, they themselves, like, people will say Amazon, like, fuck Amazon. Okay, sure, but it's still Steve Bezos. Like, and I mean, I don't know if Steve Bezos has a family, if he has any kids, but it's like he's still a living human being. Like fuck him any more than fuck anybody else. Like, Tim Cook has.
Do you feel like with a company like Facebook, where there is a person who is
Jeff Bezos? What did I say? Tim Bezos? Jeff Bezos.
I think you said Steve Bezos.
Steve Bezos. Sorry, I kind of have an Apple
you have something
thing.
like Facebook where you got Zuckerberg as the face and voice of the company and has controlling shares of the company still, and kind of is like the guy that you imagine can go in there and say, hey, we're going to do things this way.
Yeah, but isn't Zuckerberg...
or we're not going to do things that way. Do you not see that there can be failings in something as large as Facebook because there is someone who is in charge? Or that there's people underneath that person that he's entrusted and one of them could go fucking rogue.
Okay,
I get what you're saying because I worked for a corporation for a good number of years and there were problem employees across that corporation that caused people to look at that corporation as bad, to think that everybody who works there sucks. It's like the poor girl who got bitched out by the guy in the drive-thru at Chick-fil-A because the head of Chick-fil-A is an asshole. But so some other asshole decides, I'm going to ruin this girl's day because she shouldn't work for this company. It's like, hey, moralistically, sure, we'd all love to make our choices based off our own moral fortitude, but fucking, I need a job. I need to eat. And
Right.
so I have to work here. It's not my fucking fault. We're not all one fucking mindset. This isn't the Borg. But because it's not the Borg, any one of these companies has their problems, has their good points.
No, and they do, and that falls. And I mean, maybe a lot of it just comes, and this could maybe tie into the privacy thing too. Maybe it just, we all need to be a little bit more self-responsible. Like if you don't want people to know things, don't put it on the internet. Like that should just be a rule of thumb. Like we've become very lackadaisical with that anyway. Like look at fucking Uber and Lyft and other like pseudo taxi companies. Like, and this is a meme, so this isn't like me trying to be witty or smart, but like it was the whole, like, what was it, 20 years ago they told us like to stay away from strangers and to not get into strangers' cars, and now like we're finding strangers on the internet to get into their cars. It's like we've changed so much. It's a crazy world, and yes, we do. I mean, and Beat said it a little while back, like convenience is the killer. Yes, we do. Like my 7-year-old just got an iPhone. It's just an SE. It's not an expensive one. It doesn't do everything, but like, because she's 7 and I was running around, I live in the neighborhood that I grew up in. Now I live in the same neighborhood, and I was running around this neighborhood at 7 years old. And I was running around this neighborhood riding my bike and going and ringing friends' doorbells and saying, hey, let's go hang out, and walking up to the local school and going on the playground. Like I was doing that at 7. I have a hard time letting her do that because of the world we're in now. It's a much different world. So, I talked to her mom about it. I talked to my mom about it, and everyone was pretty much in agreement. Yeah, get her a phone before she leaves the house. And the reason that I went with iPhone over flip phone was because I can go in to find my iPhone and see where she is, which gives me comfort as a parent. Not because I suspect that she would lie to me at 7 years old. I'll save that for when she's a teenager. But because if my daughter says, hey, I'm going to go walk to Mimi's house. Mimi is my mother, her grandmother, she calls her, which is the next street over. Like, I can watch the walk. I can make sure she's safe on her path there. Because not only is she 7, but she's a girl. So I've given up some of her privacy and some of my privacy for the convenience, whether it's an illusion or legitimate, but for the convenience of the illusion of safety. I'm not dumb. She's 7. Somebody could grab her, take the phone, smash her on the ground, and be gone. And I'm tracking the phone on the street. Like, I get that it's not a perfect solution, but it's comfort. It's convenience. And I've surrendered some of the privacy for that. I don't think there's a problem with that. I'm okay with things being tracked. Again, back to advertising. Again, sure, perfect it, but I'm okay with that being tracked if it means I get a deal. I'm okay with them tracking where I spend my money when I swipe my card if it means it makes things a little bit easier. I am the product the system wants me to be. And I have no problem admitting that. I buy all the toys. I spend all the perks. I have apps for every fucking place that I go because I want the extra coupons. I want my free coffee every $100 I spend. Like, everything I do is traced. So I am like the poster child of, just look at fucking everything because I don't care.
Well, that's a good point to bring up our sponsor for this episode. This episode of STFU is brought to you by our sponsor, Paranoium. Are your friends too complacent with their online data? Does your aunt take every stupid Harry Potter quiz like, what's my wand, or which house orgy should I join? Do you have a coworker that tries to score a perfect 10 out of 10 on the what hair metal band sang that ballad once just because he needs a fucking win this month? Is your social data being sacrificed simply because your friends just don't give a shit? Then it's time to introduce them to Paranoium. Paranoium is the liquid enhancement that will help people realize that Facebook is handing out your maiden name and social security info to every piece of shit dark web dickhead out there for measly 2 cents per click because they don't give a single fuck about you or your privacy. Paranoium comes in default strengths: mild jitters, tinfoil hat, and 100% InfoWars. If you're not sure if Paranoium is right for you, good news. We've already introduced it to your drinking water. That'll teach you for putting that bullshit fluoride in there. This shit is actively turning your urine into an astringent. We went to one small Midwestern town the kind where no one used to lock their doors at night. And just 1 month of inserting paranoia into their systems, they started 14 militias, and everyone looks like Steve Bannon. So try paranoia today, like you got a fucking choice.
I'm really glad you didn't tell me about that beforehand because that was great. Paranoia him. Get yours today. Or don't. Who knows? It might hurt you. Don't be paranoid. Beatmaster in the chat says, if Walmart would only have stuff in store that you've liked before, how would you find new things? Why do I need new things? And I'm not being a dick. No, I'm serious. Like, why? I need updates of what I have. I want upgrades. I want the Series 4 Apple Watch when it comes out later this year. I want the iPhone XS or whatever they call it in September. I don't need new things. I am a product of repetition. It's what I do. It makes my life easy. My friends that know me like IRL, like Brandon could text me right now. I mean, granted, it's almost 11. I think it's past 11, so they're closed. But just for the sake of making a point, Brandon could text me right now, and they'd be like, "Hey, I'm coming over. Would you like me to grab a bite to eat on the way over?" All I would have to say is, "Yeah, Subway." That's it, because I get the same thing every time. It's a flatbread, turkey bacon, American cheese, lettuce, cucumber, olive, onion, salt and pepper, toasted. Every time at every Subway. I get the same thing at McDonald's. I get the same thing at Burger King. I get the same thing at Wendy's. It makes my life easy. So no, I don't need new things. Again, I want updates. I want upgrades of current things. Amy says, "Oh, you didn't give me time to type it." See, Amy knew. Because people know what I do. And it makes my life easy because I can do that because friends can do that, or I can do that for friends.
And certainly going into a Subway and having them know what you're
it's great. I can go the one right around the corner from my house. I just go and play, like they see me and they say breakfast or lunch because that's the only variant. And the only variant there is instead of bacon and turkey, it's bacon and egg. That's it. They just swap out turkey for egg and it's my breakfast sandwich. And like literally there's like two girls, their brother, and then the guy that work there, and they all know me and they will say breakfast or lunch. And
but would
I
you
will
not be concerned if you walked in there to someone who didn't know you?
Oh,
and
it throws
all that information.
No, I wouldn't. I would.
If you walk down the street and somebody just came up randomly and handed you a sandwich and it's exactly the sandwich that you wanted. I mean, on the one hand, that
would be wonderful.
On the other hand, wouldn't you kind of think, what kind of extra things does this person put in the sandwich?
No, because I'm not that paranoid. I don't think everyone's out to get me. I don't think corporations are out to get me. I don't think people are out to get me. I don't think.
Would you let your kid be the first one to bite into that sandwich?
I don't know. Maybe after
how many bites in would you be okay with?
What does this person look like?
Saying,
what is this
like? That, it's a look.
Did they look like?
You're basing it off of appearance.
Do they look like a Starbucks employee or a Walmart employee? Like, what do they look like?
What if you don't see them? What if it's just a random robot?
If it's a robot, yeah, I'm good.
Then you're good.
Yeah, I'm good. Robots aren't robots
that you've never seen before.
Robots
and I'm sure are thoroughly impressed by the technology.
Dude,
just shows up with a sandwich.
Dude, if I die biting into a sandwich that was given to me perfectly by an android,
but that's you. How many bites into the sandwich are you then like? Okay, I'm okay with letting my kid eat this too.
That's
we're a society that still looks for razor blades and apples, even though that's been proven to be not true. On Halloween, we still have that look of over the candy to make sure that these things that we gather from strangers in our neighborhood that we should know, that we should see as peers and friends.
Yeah, put razor blades in the apples. Fuck them for trying to eat healthy on Halloween. Halloween's for junk food.
I'm just saying, we have a different level of paranoia about our own stuff sometimes than we do about other people that we look to protect. That it's kind of our job to protect.
and that's true. It's especially with whether it's spouses or children or elderly parents or whatever the case may be.
Like I don't see you post a lot of pictures of your kids online, and we're friends. And even if you have I
post them all on Instagram. just because, yeah, it's easier. I don't like it when the ex's family likes or comments on posts that I put up, and when it's the kids.
So
they
you want
always do.
privacy from certain people.
Okay, but again, I want privacy. Okay, I want privacy from people. I don't want I don't want privacy from companies. Lack of privacy from companies gives me convenience. Privacy from companies lets you get away with things.
Best case scenario, lack of privacy from companies gives you convenience. Worst case scenario is lack of privacy from companies gets to the people that you don't want to have that access. Because when Facebook's original terms of service say, hey, your pictures that you post on here, we have the ability to use them for ads. You okay with that? You don't get paid for them.
No, that's fine.
We get paid for them, and we can put anything you want on there.
I do get,
so it can be like
but
that,
I do
that thing
get
that
paid.
happened to Joanne Friends where he was a fucking VD after or whatever.
But
it's
I do get paid for them. My payment is the ability to use their service, which they could easily charge $10 or $15 a month for.
You're okay with it for yourself. Are you okay with it for your kids? And are you okay with it when it's something that you are against?
I'm not.
What if your picture is popping up like for the local church?
That would be hilarious.
As the advertisement, right? Exactly. It's hilarious to you until everyone's coming up to you and like singing hallelujah. In the
oh no, man! If you made me the poster
to,
boy of a church, I would have so much fun with it. You're talking to the wrong guy there.
You think you would have fun with it, but it would get really fucking annoying after a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, like, listen to last podcast if you want to hear about how people become serial killers.
What if it's like, hey, join your local Trump supporters?
Yeah, see, now
Dog's house.
Beatmaster went with the Amy says shit, that would be Nate's dream come true. But
he's the one who's got the big welcome mat for the Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah, man, fucking Jonestown. I've always wanted a cult. That's why I became a podcaster. No, but Beatmaster says Nate on an ad for erectile dysfunction. Wasn't that Joey in Friends that happened to?
Joey was herpes, I think.
Was it
or something along those lines? It was some sort of venereal disease.
Oh, that's right. It was a VD thing. There was another ED thing too. I don't know. Anyway, like who cares? Like
some people do.
Why?
And it's the thing. Because not everybody wants to be associated with things that they're absolutely not associated with. Some people have moralistic reasons. Some people have just personal reasons. Some people,
then
if we want to get really serious for a second,
pictures on the internet.
Some people, no, wait, hold on. It's not just pictures. So Facebook has a real name policy thing, which is bullshit because they don't. But they act like they do, and they do for certain types of people. And I'll tell you who, anybody who's not white and American sounding. So if you have a Native American name, Facebook might say, we think your name is full of shit, so you have to send us a picture of your ID.
Are you telling me I can't make my Facebook name Chief Kill Him with Bo?
I believe that, one, I don't care how Native American you think you are. That's racist as fuck. But two,
come on, that was fucking good, man.
All right, that's fine.
Dude, I am making my High Mountain Torn on WoW a hunter, and I'm naming him Kill Him with Bo.
Jesus Christ. But a lot of people who have identities because they are trying to not let it leak out that they're trans to people that they work with or people that they know who don't know that aspect about them. People who have been in abusive relationships and want to have privacy and still want to enjoy the upshots of being able to have a social gathering through online and stuff, but don't also want to be stalked by their exes who might beat them up or kill them. These are things that are real problems that privacy is important for, and that ignoring the necessity of privacy basically exposes people to. So it's an unfair system. It's one thing for you to say, I'm okay with it, but it's a different thing to say that everybody should be okay with it. And that's a problem. It's a broken rule, because someone like Mark Zuckerberg, who is a multi-billionaire, who is frankly white, who has been able to demean women in the original version of his app.
As I say, wasn't Facebook designed for him to like grade women based off of their appearance?
Yeah,
like
it was a hot or not system.
It was a stalking tool.
Right. That's still his mindset. He thinks that privacy is not worthwhile, that we should all love to get all our stuff out there. But that's because his shit don't stink in his mind. But
Right.
plenty of other people have reasons for wanting privacy.
And I 100% agree with you. I don't think it's the majority, but I do think it's one of those things where even on an individual basis, every one of those cases is important enough for it to be valid. If you are somebody who is trans and you don't want it to be known, then yeah, you should be able to not have that disclosed. Like you said, if you are somebody, regardless of gender, who was in an abusive relationship and you don't want your ex-partner to be able to track you, that's something that you should be able to do. I mean, there are block features, but anyone who knows their way around Facebook knows the way around those. So those are like a lock on your door. Like, locks are to keep honest criminals honest. Like anyone that wants to get in will get in. So
yeah, and I don't use my real name on Facebook. I use what is more my real name than my real name is. But I've never been questioned because my name sounds like a real name.
right.
And I'm lucky in that. But
Even
I've
though
known
it's
plenty
two
of
first
people
names, but
who have either have more popularity of a name that other people know them as, which is based off of a character that they play or a personality that they have on a podcast or something, and they've lost their ability to be on Facebook because Facebook's like, no, that doesn't fly with us. And why is that? Other than the fact that Facebook is trying to track the information of who people are. Why do they
be
need
able to
that
sell
much
you.
information?
They want to be able to. They want to be able to sell you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like it's not just a simple, oh, we just want to collect the data and better advertise for you. It's like, no, we really want to know who you are, and we really want to know where you are and who you're with, and that can be disconcerting. And I think that there's positive reasons as to why we should expect that shouldn't be allowed, no matter what the terms of service are. And the terms of service change all the fucking time. And when you've gotten to be at a level that Facebook is, those terms of service become more malleable because, well, what are you going to do? Go over to fucking Vero?
Fucking Vero. You're going to use Google Plus or Google, whatever the fuck it's called.
Google Plus, real name policy for many, many years.
What's that? Oh, real name policy?
Google Plus had a real name policy.
See, I don't mind. Like, again, I have nothing to hide.
You don't mind. But would you let your kids haphazardly go out there? That's part of the real issue I have, and where these things came from.
No, you know what? Real world example. So again, I mentioned my daughter just got the iPhone, right? So she has Snapchat because all of her cousins have Snapchat, and because she likes to Snapchat me goodnight pictures, like doing peace signs and duck faces because she's 7. But she's on there as Lizzie W. And I'm like, you could have used a fake name. Like, you didn't have to put, but again, but on the other hand, it's like, I know enough about tech to know that they might not get her name, but if somebody cared enough, like, they could get into that account and track the IP that uses it and track that I own that Verizon account. So
or if they can see who else she's chatting with, and one of your cousins uses their last name, and it's the same last name, or they can just kind of bounce from that.
Or she sends me a snap and I'm on there as Nate W. So, I mean, again, it's that level of, it's anime zombie. I don't want to be sold. I'm priceless. I do fall into that slight paranoia. And then I really quickly pull myself out of it. But again, those are safety things. And maybe, I mean, you could attach so many points to so many lines and so many things and just do redirects and everything. And like, okay, here's a big one that I've always said that, like, different privacy, like web history, right? And it's like things you buy, porn, other things you buy in porn are kind of where my point was. Everyone gets so uppity about that. And it's like, who cares? Like,
some people care.
Why?
Because your social circle does not care, does not mean that other people's social circles don't care.
Yeah, but then find a new social circle. If you see, the problem is
not everybody can, man. No, like, what if you are in the deep South? What if you were in the heart of Texas and your social circle is made up of very religious people because that's just how it fucking is down there. And even if you're not, you have to act like you are just to be a part of your own community. That's something that people don't think about. Is like sometimes the community isn't necessarily what you want it to be,
right? No,
but
I mean,
to have an existence in it, you kind of have to suck it up.
Yeah, no, and I suppose that those can be situations that you are just trapped in for a while.
I'm in a very liberal area, you
Right.
know, and even here, there are people who would probably not put up with some of my shit.
Fuck you, Beatmaster. Says Snapchat isn't allowed for children under 13. They have Snap Kids for them. Kids need to be protected from their parents' poor decisions sometimes.
And that's a big thing, is that things like and not just Facebook, because we go back to MySpace, we go back to I started in fucking LiveJournal. We've monetized children. We've created
we've always monetized children. Star Wars was made to sell fucking toys. That was back in 77.
Star Wars was made as a movie, and then it wound up selling a lot of fucking toys. The toys were not necessarily an afterthought, but they did not know that it was going to land like it did.
Okay, fair
and that
enough.
Was but still,
like things are made.
They wouldn't have let Lucas keep the rights.
Like Pokemon is to sell toys.
Pokemon's definitely to sell toys.
Everything is to sell
whatever.
Yeah, everything is to sell toys. Like we market to kids, and that's why geek.
But
culture,
we marketed to kids, and then we also closed off parents' abilities to say what those kids can and can't do, or to see what those kids are doing. You know, it's one thing to say, okay, I'm trying to sell you this Teddy Ruxpin doll, and your parents have to go and buy it. But when your kids are the income, then it doesn't matter. You don't need a credit card. You know, you're collecting data on these children that is probably not okay. You know, we're talking about a company like Facebook that, to prevent people from sharing nudes, asks you to send nude photos in. Like this was their big thought process. They said, hey, it's possible that someone's going to try to do revenge porn on you. So what you should do is send us a picture of you naked, and then we can use our algorithm to figure it out and stop it from showing up.
No, but let me ask you a question, though. Without the weird, creepy implications, on a purely technical standpoint, would that work?
Probably not.
You don't think so?
Because the algorithms have to get enough data to be accurate.
So what if they send a video of them having sex? Send us a video of you having sex, and we will be able to point out other videos of you having sex. Or here's a good one. Don't put pictures of you having sex with people on the internet. Derek says
that's not what they're doing. It's not always up to them.
What do you mean that's not what they're doing? Every single one, and I'm not victim shaming. I want to make that clear. I am not victim shaming. But every single one of these celebrities who have had their pictures,
about celebrities,
their pictures or videos or anything.
And I don't believe that every single one of them have done this on purpose.
No. But I'm saying they had them on a smartphone. Smartphones are connected to the internet. That is borderline uploading them to the internet. If you have, I don't care if you went to Instagram or YouTube or Xhamster or YouPorn or whatever website you went to and literally uploaded them. You don't need to go that far. If they're on your phone, they're on the internet. Don't take things that you don't potentially want people. Don't put things that you want people to potentially have access to.
That really does sound like you're slut shaming.
Huh? No, I'm not. I'm not at all.
A lot of a little bit.
There are plenty of pictures of me on plenty of devices.
More than 50, 80, 70.
No, because I'm not saying that they shouldn't be doing it.
You're saying you're judging them for the choice that they made to do it, and then when stuff gets exposed, which is not their fault.
No, it's not their fault, but you shouldn't be surprised. You should be aware of the risks when you do it.
I feel like when you have a company like Apple saying we don't collect or sell your data, so you should feel safe using our hardware.
But they do have an iCloud, which can be hacked.
They do have an iCloud, which can be hacked, which is, again, we've made these promises to you that we're not going to share this stuff, but then making it really easy for stuff. And that's my point. Again, the commoditizing the children is that we've taught people of a young age that all this stuff should be collected on your phones and all this stuff is available, and how cool it is to be a YouTube star and how cool it is to have an Instagram account with a lot of follows and everything, and how far you should go to get those follows, and how much more you can profit by having explicit stuff. And so in the end, hey, here's the stuff that you guys all have been making it seem like this is great. And maybe it's gone too far, but I didn't have the consequence built into me or taught to me about how bad this is going to be in the future. And so now I'm paying for it because socially we've just decided that that's okay. I think that there's still got to be a voice who says it's not all okay. And I think also that there needs to be things done to protect people. And when that stuff gets leaked out, we have to have a process in place to protect them after. You know, to block this stuff, to go after the people who do it. There's still not really laws against revenge porn. It's a case by case basis of trying to prove it. No, they're still very, very iffy.
Are they? Okay.
Now they've gone after some bigwigs. They've gone after the Girls Gone Wild guys and some other people. But honestly, I thought the reason it's like identity theft. It's like trying to prove who you are is still such a fucking trial.
I thought the reason they went after I thought the reason they went after the Girls Gone Wild guys was because there was like a girl or two that was on their videos that were under 18.
I feel like that's probably part of it.
Yeah,
but I don't think that's the only.
Because I think all the girls on there signed waivers. That was part of it. Because College Fuckfest was one too. Like they would pick a college and they would go to a college party, and they would have the girls and guys that they planned on having on camera during the party sign waivers. And like it was essentially these 2 or 3 guys that would act like they were walking through a college dorm party, and then like they would just happen to stumble on people having sex on a sofa. It was this whole big thing for a while in like the early 2000s. I don't think it was in the 90s. I think it was like early 2000s. But yeah, it was called College Fuckfest.
Apparently not enough of a connoisseur.
Apparently not. But yeah,
but like, there's definitely been.
Oh no, you can go. I mean, you can still go find like the China sex tape that was leaked, and she died years ago. Like you can still go find that. Paige, who is a WWE wrestler, and now she's retired because of an injury, but so now she's a personality. And like you can still go find her leaked sex tape. It's all over all of the upload your own video stuff. And it's, yes, I do agree that stuff needs to be put into place to stop the bleeding. The problem is that is one of those things where once something is on the internet, it's always on the internet. And that's something that needs to be, Hulk Hogan, but I don't think Terry Bollea cares about his sex tape. He actually got,
I believe he likes that fucking money that he
actually got out of business. Millions of dollars because of that sex tape. So I think he's okay with that. And it's tough. It's, yes, people's bodies, if they want to keep them in private, should be in private. Their privates should be private.
Privacy is important.
Again, on a personal level.
That's what privacy is, man.
No, I'm saying personal level or a corporate level. If Google would want to sell what type of porn that I watch to Brazzers, so Brazzers knows not me as an individual, but porn connoisseurs among the United States. And I'm using this as an example because porn is a big privacy one for people.
And because you're looking for the Brazzers sponsorship.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah, dude. Brazzers. But no, like if they want, like you can do it with YouPorn, and YouPorn doesn't give usernames, but you can go onto their statistics and look at the most search terms for the day and for the month. And there's a whole big thing about it. Hell, and they've even made jokes about it. Like, are you familiar with Fortnite, the Battle Royale game?
I know that Drake is into it.
Okay. So Fortnite put out a tweet. This was like a week and a half ago. Fortnite put out a tweet, said, hey, our servers went down. We don't know why. We'll figure it out and get back to you. And within minutes, YouPorn quote tweeted it saying, well, you better hurry up or our servers are going next. And yes, like if they want to look at my search terms and also look that I may have an account somewhere and sell my search terms to that company so maybe they can make new videos that fall within my search terms. I don't care if they're selling that to people. Now let's take it away from adult stuff. Let's look at video games. If they go, okay, like they've spent this much money. I mean, loot boxes are a big one, and we won't make it about that because I would like to do a show about that at some point or an episode about that at some point. But like, if they go, okay, well, you have people on Facebook that are crying about it, and then but look how many are sold. We don't need to know the individual users, and maybe that's where this happy medium can be drawn for a lot of things.
Right. You're saying that there's a point of privacy where you're okay with it, and then beyond that might be a point of privacy where you're not okay with it. And that's my point, is who gets to set that line? Are we in charge of our own lines? Is that stuff communicated well enough to us? Or are the rules arbitrary and changing? And are we losing the ability to have a line at all? In some ways, I think the idea of privacy is gone. We ran out of it years ago. Before I was born, back in the 1800s, we used to put social security numbers on people's traveler's checks when they were in the military, because that's how you would be able to spend money. And the social security number is tied to pretty much everything about you. It's a fucking 9-digit number, 9, 10, I don't know. And 9. And it basically was the linchpin of your entire fucking life. And everybody started asking for the last 4 years social over the last 20 years in every situation. And so the idea that we still have privacy after that any of that shit actually means anything,
right?
It's kind of ridiculous. But that can still be used to steal your identity, to make it seem like you might not be a legal citizen. You could wind up on a no-fly list for things that you do or say on the internet.
You put your social in the hands of the right hacker, and they can make it so you don't exist.
Exactly. That's worrisome.
Except for the fact
of how much we have tied into an existing system that doesn't work.
Except for the fact that you have to. Oh, really quick, Beatmaster. I wasn't talking about the concept of loot boxes. I was talking about whether or not they were being sold, like the to be able to view sales numbers and see, okay, this many users are buying them, so obviously they're not as bad as Facebook and Twitter make them out to be. I didn't mean like the concept of loot boxes. I disagree with your statement there, but that's for a different conversation. No, but I agree that is a risk. I disagree in that 99% of people aren't at risk of it. When videos are leaked, they're leaked because most of the time they're attractive people. We want to see attractive people naked, especially famous attractive people. And so they have something legal, illegal, moral, immoral. That's not my point here. I'm just saying, I'm on a factual basis here. They have something of value, and people want it because people want what they want. So they were hacked, and they were wronged, and they were violated because they had something of value. Not financial value, or maybe financial value, because sometimes those get sold off. But they had something of value to the person or persons doing the hacking. For you to get hacked, you have to be worth being hacked. Like you said, for example, I was like, you're not going to tell the whole world your bank account value. And you're like, well, no, but it's low. You're not worth getting hacked. You're not rolling in millions of dollars of offshore accounts.
I'm not. But what if I am the in for somebody to be able to do things and get away with a lot of illegal activity, and for me to not notice it because I'm not looking for that information, and then all of a sudden someday I'm the one who gets jail time because I can't prove that it wasn't me. It's like having your Wi-Fi exposed and open, and your neighborhood is sitting there downloading shit illegally, but because your network is open, you're the one who faces the charges for it. That's an actual legal thing. If you have Wi-Fi and your Wi-Fi isn't encrypted, you're not doing something to protect yourself, and your neighbor goes on your Wi-Fi and downloads a bunch of Universal movies or whatever, or a bunch of songs from Napster from back in the day, you're the one who gets that bill. You're the one who gets taken into court. And if you say, well, it's not my fault because I didn't do it, they're going to say, well, it was done on your network. And you have no real recourse to show that it wasn't you.
Right.
And that's a problem. You say that your stuff, because if you're not famous or you're not rich, you're not worth it. But we're talking about companies that think we're worth it without us being rich. All that information
we on the massive level of is worth it. We are like that whole, what's that whole thing, like if you hack into like a company's thing and like you make it so it like gives you like a penny per thing or whatever, like the company will never notice. But that thing, but I mean, that was a thought long before that. It had to have been.
It was introduced in Superman 3, and then they reference it in Office Space.
That was where I heard Office Space. But that's a thing. Like you could do that, and like that was, and it was used as a crime on various cop dramas. Like people would skim off the top of their company, and you wouldn't notice it. And,
Richard Pryor was way ahead of the game.
Yeah, and we had a lot. We've had corporations that have done that. Or people in corporations that have done that and never
it's the
served.
death by 1,000 cuts.
Right. So it's, I mean, I don't know. It's, again, but I think that you are blaming a lack of privacy on people's illegal actions.
I'm blaming a lack of privacy on people's belief that privacy isn't valuable.
But it
doesn't matter.
But it wouldn't matter if people were honest.
But they're not.
So the problem is not privacy or a lack thereof. The problem is people.
That's like saying, oh, the problem isn't guns when I walk into this room where everybody's shooting in the center of the room and I just wander through. It's not the fact that people are shooting at me. It's that I walked in there. What if you didn't know that was what going on? And every 30 seconds, everybody's just going to open fire in the center of the room. And you're just sitting there like, I thought this was the disco.
Fix society first, then we'll talk about giving up privacy. I mean, yeah, fix society. No, I mean, fix society anyway. Fuck. That's the whole podcast. Fix society.
The ultimate end game is just fuck it. Let's blast off into space.
Right.
Because this place is fucked.
Yeah.
And that's honestly, we could always take everything into that. If we're going up the fucking each block to the top of the pyramid, the top of the pyramid is we're fucked.
We're fucked.
Let's get off this goddamn planet.
We are. But I think
we could take some alternate steps along the way to maybe make the climb up not so treacherous.
Right. I think ultimately what it comes down to is I don't think there's a blanket statement. I think there are some
but I do think there's a statement to be said for when we give up our privacy, do we deserve to at least know what we're giving up? Have we gone too far in one direction that we can't go back? That's a big issue. Is what we've gained from Google and Facebook and Amazon so valuable that we can't stop ourselves?
Oh yeah, no, it's ingrained into our lives.
For a lot of people, it's not. A lot of people aren't trying to cash out with the Apple Watch. A lot of people aren't using the Alexa in their homes. A lot of people don't have smartphones. A lot of people don't use Gmail. But for many of us, we're okay with it. And that's the other part of it is, are those of us who are okay with it fucking this shit up for the people who aren't okay with it?
I don't think so. I
feel like we are. Because part of the thing with Facebook,
then they just need to get on board.
It's tough shit. Just suck it. Take the eggs and just shove them up your ass. The Facebook thing, the leak to the Cambridge Analytica stuff happened not because I was taking dumb quizzes, but because people I knew were taking quizzes. When I'm sitting there and I'm like, God, this shit really is stupid. Now, is it my fault because I'm friends with those people on Facebook? Sorry, Mom. Yeah. I should have cut you free.
Never be friends with your parents on anything that has technology involved, because
the whole reason I joined Facebook was because my mom was using it and she wanted me on there. Like I said, I'm a LiveJournal guy through and through. That's the issue. Is it's not my decision whether or not I have privacy. It's someone else's decision whether I have privacy at this point.
So let me.
It's Equifax. It's Target. It's places that don't give a shit about their own security and then get a slap on the wrist and a paltry sum to pay off that doesn't benefit me. to say, oops, sorry, fucked up, and then walk away from it and keep doing what they're already doing.
Okay. No, and you're not wrong. I don't disagree. I wanna take the topic that you're on right now with the swung too far, and I want to rope it back to the children. And like our children are being profited off of, they're being sold, whatever. So, not necessarily that, but just the children in general. We mentioned when we kind of sold on this topic in the pre-show, the one thing I brought up was a generation gap between you and I. And there's a clear generation gap between me and my kids. And is it going to be something where this isn't going to be an issue when they become adults because they grew up with it?
Or is it not going to be an issue because their parents made the decisions for them and they don't get to back out?
Well, no, but because they grew up with it, they got used to it. So they learned.
But that's like saying that they got used to being a Catholic because their parents dragged them to church every week.
Which happens, and
which absolutely happens.
Yeah.
Are you okay with that?
Am I okay with that? No, that's child abuse.
So what I'm saying is
because it's not hurting them. My daughter having an iPhone isn't hurting her.
Maybe it's not. Maybe it is. Now, there's plenty of decisions where we don't know if it's going to hurt them. The first time you give your kid a peanut butter sandwich and you all of a sudden find out he's got a peanut allergy.
Right.
You weren't intentionally trying to hurt your kid. It's not a matter of fault, but it is a question of, is what you're doing okay, and is it going to damage them in the long run? How many hours of TV do you let your kids watch a day? This is something that we didn't think about when I was a kid. But now we've had kids that are raised on
something
television.
We don't. It's something we don't think about anymore either.
And some people do, though.
Some people do.
But it's funny how many people you see from the tech society like get their payout, and then they say, okay, now I'm taking my wife and my kids and we're gonna go live out in a fucking cabin in the woods somewhere in a tiny house and get all of this technology out of our lives because we feel like it's taken over. It's like, well, that's great, but you created the fucking problem and now you could escape from it, and the rest of us are still here just fucking sitting in our fucking swill.
Right.
Because we don't have that option.
Beatmaster, while I am guilty of doing that, as is everybody in the last 10 years that has kids, is guilty of doing that. That is interesting because
what's Beat's question?
So it wasn't a question, more of a statement. He said, in quotes, my kids like being on social media. I take pictures of them since they were born and post them, and they never complain. And I like the point that it brings up, because within the last 10 years, so maybe anyone that's like 10, I don't know, how long ago was MySpace?
That's probably about 10 years.
Okay, so anyone that right now is 10 years old or younger are of the first generation where the moment they were born, in many cases, they existed on social media without permission from them. And is that, I mean, I guess to kind of approach it from the other angle, is that a problem?
Is it a potential problem down the road? What if you're that kid who's now had your image captured throughout your growing up phases and everything, and then at some point you decide that you don't want to be a public face in society, but anytime you walk past a camera or something, you get tagged because you're already known?
Are we kind of like engrossing them in what happens to like child actors?
Sort of.
Yeah.
It's a possibility. If you're a parent and you got your kids signed up and they were the Gerber baby, and then they went on to be in a Burger King commercial, and then they did some John Hughes film, and then years down the road, after you ripped off their money, by the way, they resent the fuck out of you, and their lives are kind of a fucking mess because of it. Yeah, maybe you were the problem. That's not always the case. Maybe you think you're doing everything right. Maybe your kid is on a Disney show and they're making tons of money, and you put out an album and you're really successful. And then for no fucking reason at all, you shave your head one day and marry a backup singer who thinks he can rap. It's just, there's no way of knowing what kind of damage.
I feel like you're talking about somebody, huh?
Yeah, that was a Britney Spears reference.
Oh,
because we're going back to MySpace days.
Oh yeah. Well, when you were
But I am saying that
Disney star and then went like singer album, I went right to Miley Cyrus. I completely forgot Britney.
there's another one.
Yeah.
You know, where did things go wrong? Was it because she was?
It was when she became more
put out
popular than her
there?
dad, and he got jealous.
Maybe, or he seemed perfectly okay with it. You know, it seemed like she just was like, I don't want to be under a Disney contract anymore. Still, that's the point, is that kids at first, you're in charge. You know, the kids aren't. And so you're the one who has to set the rules, and you're the one who has to give them boundaries,
So-
and you have to teach them what the expectations are of these boundaries.
You made
So when
Go ahead.
when
go
you
ahead.
let them watch YouTube videos, or you let them watch Kardashian reality shows, or you let them watch podcasts or anything else, or be on Instagram, and they see what the rating system is to be popular and to get love, and we build up this charge in their heads of like, oh, I get this many likes, and I feel embraced and empowered for a second, and then that goes away, and I need to get that next high the next day. Are we damaging their ability to deal with society in a regular way afterwards?
Well, what is dealing
Or
with
is it
society?
preparing them, because that's actually what society is going to be.
I was
and
going
we're
to
all
say,
be on a
what
rating
is
system.
dealing with a society in a regular way going to be in 20 years? We don't know that.
Exactly.
But I have a question.
We're making the decisions.
Where's my vape
for
juice? That's
them.
my question. Good thing I didn't take my pants off before recording, because that would have been a weird shot.
My ex,
Hey, so quick
20
question.
years ago, my ex and I went, and she had to get her driver's license renewed. And it was the first time in California that you had to give them a thumbprint on your driver's license. And she had a real problem with it
Really?
because she was suddenly in the system.
Oh, yeah,
And-
no, I mean, I work for the government, so they have all my prints.
Right.
And
Yeah,
I
you
worked for a
do.
bank. They had all my prints.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But again, 20 years ago when that was first being introduced, it's like, why the fuck do they need my fingerprint? What system is it going into? What is going to be done with this?
See,
kind of thing.
I would look at that as, okay, can I pause? I don't want to lose the thought, because I had a really awesome thought.
No, go ahead.
No, but I want to go on that too, because, okay, so really quickly, and I'll keep my other thought over here. I'll put it in a box. I'm okay with everybody being in the system. Microchip me. Chip me. Chip my kids. Chip everybody. And here's the reason I'm okay with being in a system. Because if you profile people, you're sexist, you're racist, you're homophobic, you are anti whatever the people are. You know what I mean? You're not allowed to profile and narrow down your targets. You know, if there was an attack done by either a person of color or whatever color, no particular race, if there was an attack done by a person of color, there has to be a white person in that lineup, or whoever drew the lineup is being racist. Like there's a level, and this is where things have gone too far in one direction. If you chip everybody, if you put everybody in the system, there doesn't need to be a random selection. Everybody's been selected. Everybody's been in the system, and everybody who's guilty of something will have it on file somewhere. So you don't need to racially or genderly or orientation profile. You don't need to profile anybody. You don't need to worry about racism or sexism or anything like that, because everybody is in the system. Everybody has a number, and everybody is accountable for their own actions. I don't
know if that necessarily works. Because first of all, profiling isn't necessarily just limited to race. It's limited to like where you live, your upbringing, your marketability as a human being, your
that's what I'm saying. But
income levels.
none of that has to happen. If everybody,
But that does happen.
But it doesn't have to.
This chip doesn't necessarily make it so that doesn't happen anymore.
But it does if it's traceable. If you put, and I'm going a little extreme on here to argue the other side. If you were to chip everybody, and there is a college girl after a party behind a dorm who is raped, you can go, the government and law enforcement can go into their system, and they can go into their tracking, and they can see exactly what chip was there with her chip at that time. Bam. No investigation, no profiling, no racial bias, no nothing. You have the man or the men or the other woman that were on the scene in that alley at the exact time that this woman was violated. It is without question. Why is that a problem? You know who have a problem with that? The people that are committing the crime.
Or the people who could be set up for the crime. Because you have to be 100% trusting of the people who have that data.
You can't
to not use it against you when they suddenly find out, oh, this person who did this is a legacy. This person who did this is the son of an important senator or is someone who is got great things ahead of them and shouldn't be punished for this one mistake.
Hey, what was that?
Let's put it on someone who we feel doesn't matter.
What was that paranoia drug that you were trying to sell before?
I believe in paranoia. I think paranoia is healthy.
But also, I don't believe in conspiracy. Like that.
How can you not?
Because it's not.
How can you exist in this day and age, in this year politically?
9/11 wasn't an inside job.
I'm not saying 9/11 was an inside job.
Trump won legitimately.
Pick a new tune and sing a little louder because you ain't making any fucking sense. You know conspiracies exist. You know that there are bad people with bad intentions that are in large and in charge important positions and can get away with shit.
Yeah, but it's not a conspiracy. They're loud. And they're not just large and in charge. They're loud and obnoxious about it.
When they lie to your face, it's a conspiracy. When they're looking at who they can overpower, it's a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy against a whole group of people. It's a conspiracy against a whole race of people. Or a whole gender.
Okay. If you wanna go that far with the definition of conspiracy, then I will. Then okay, you're not wrong. But I mean,
when we already live in a society where people are more likely to put the blame on the rape victim than on the rapist,
and that's bullshit. And I would never argue against that.
Right. So you have to have a lot of faith in your government, and as our government has its high points and its low points,
all governments do.
All governments do, and I feel really lucky to have grown up in this nation, but I don't feel like I'm going to put that much trust in them, just like I have a problem putting it into corporations like Google or Facebook or anything else. I'm not saying that everything they do is just aimed at fucking, like, getting fucked by the man, but they are still the man.
Right.
And there are still plenty of times when it's like, hey, this guy over here is a little uppity. So what if you say we put his chip over in this place where shit's going down so that we can take care of him?
No, but that's not a flaw of the tech. The tech itself is great. It's a flaw of people. Yeah. Privatize law enforcement. Get it out of the hands of the government. Privatize law enforcement.
That's ridiculous.
Why?
Because private companies are the same sort of thing. That's why we have private prisons where they get bonuses for having people in jail, so they want to keep people locked up.
No, that's true. Okay, fair enough. People suck. Fuck people. Okay, so back to my bigger point, which I think is a better discussion. It doesn't make me sound like an idiot. Or maybe it does. Who knows? I'm going to ask this question based off of what was said maybe about 15, 20 minutes ago. And I want you can laugh it off, but I want I want legit thought in it. Has social media become a religion?
I believe that social media has focused very much on idolatry. Ideology.
So we all congregate to a place, whether it be Facebook or Twitter or whatever. We practically confess on social media. I had another point too, and this is why I didn't want to wait on it. it
depends on if you're the sort who, in confession, tells the priest everything that you did wrong, or just tells him the parts that you're okay with him knowing.
Well, so you don't tell him the parts he'll jack off to later.
if that's your problem, or if it's maybe like I trust my priest, but I don't really trust my priest.
If you trust your priest, that's your problem.
But you're the one who brought up religion.
No. I was bringing up social media. But no, it's so because you mentioned raising your kids and I was like, yeah, raise them around social media. It's like, well, but what about religion? Like, would you be okay with that? And it's like, it has kind of become that pull, like it's our community. Like you mentioned the community that we have to be in. You mentioned the Deep South reference. The argument to that is we don't anymore. 90% of the people I socialize with are people that don't live near me because of Facebook, because of Twitter, because of, I mean, I don't use Snapchat because I'm not a porn star or a girl, like a teenage girl, but like all these platforms, Instagram, like I have met so many other gamers and streamers and photographers and artists and wrestlers and wrestling fans that don't live near me because of social media. So we're not stuck in our little circles anymore. We are in whatever circle we want to be in. We have our facade we might have to put on in front of people.
But with that, we're in a much more damaging circle because you don't have an out. You don't have your escape. If I went to school, I went to high school, and I was definitely nerdy, and I was certainly picked on at times. I went through points where I was less picked on, but generally, yeah, school is a very tough time in formative years because everything means so much to you because your world is very small.
Right.
And as your world grows, you realize that there's less and less importance about how these people.
Oh yeah, I had this realization.
Everything else.
I had this realization fairly recently that I have now been out of high school for longer than my entire school career, and it's kind of scary.
But
yeah, no, it's such a small thing.
If during those years my social circle extended beyond when I went home, if it was my online friends, and suddenly, like, I have my own little circle there where I feel safe, but then someone who knows me from outside of that comes into it and starts feeding everybody a bunch of shit about me and wrecks that for me. And then that just follows me around because, again, we're talking about a privacy issue. Then I get nothing. So it's even harder because now it's like I don't get to come home and like deal with the shit again tomorrow when I go back to school. It's like I'm dealing with the shit 24 hours a day. Anytime I'm awake and I'm bounding into Instagram or Snapchat or whatever, and this stuff is still bombarding me. And this may be what I perceive as my own choice, but that's because where everybody is. You know, if everybody you know is all in this one place and you're the one person who can't be there,
it's kind of like
feel like you're not part of society.
It's kind of like if you're the only
you have no place.
It's like if you're the only person in your social circle that's not smoking, you kind of feel like you have to smoke. Yeah, no, I get that. There's definitely societal pressure there. Hell, I'll do it to people. I'll be like if I'm talking to somebody about games, I'm like, yeah, you can check out some of the games I play on Twitch. What's Twitch? Jesus, you don't know what Twitch is? What's wrong with you? Like, you're not one of the cool kids? Like, what the hell? You don't watch things on YouTube? Oh, sorry. Like, no, and we have
all the cool kids are doing heroin this week.
Yeah, right. Hey, I was watching Mike TV on Twitch yesterday. He's like, I'm not done till I get everyone to do heroin. Oh, by the way, yeah, so I'm gonna give him a shout out too. Yeah, Mike TV Live, twitch.tv/Mike TV Live. Check the guy out. He was on Mind of a Geek. He's awesome. I've been watching him a lot lately. He's great to listen to while doing other things because he plays live music on his show. He's a lot of fun. But no, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's so difficult. And there are more educated people than us that can do this. But again,
certainly.
But for me, on my level, I don't care. Like, I don't think
I know you don't.
I don't think it's
but I do know that
you know it's become
you know do care. You just don't know how much you care until you actually look at the
fair enough. Fair enough. It's one of those things where it is the way, and at the moment I either have to just not exist in it or accept it. And not existing in it means I sacrifice too much. Like
Have you seen those commercials where people talk about their credit scores and how it keeps them from getting a job? And so you have to buy into some credit score monitoring service because if your credit score is too low, then you might not get hired at certain places. And I can see situations where that actually is legitimately true.
Oh,
like,
no,
you have to rent cars and travel a lot and everything.
No, the post office runs your credit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I had to have a family member. When I first got hired at the post office back in 2006, I had to have a family member because it couldn't be in my name because it wouldn't have helped my credit. I had to have a family member take out a loan and pay off all of my debt. And then I eventually paid them back for me to be able to get to before I even applied to the post office because they'll run your credit.
Right.
But
And
but
don't
your
you
credit,
feel like that's a weird, arbitrary thing to choose
not
to
not
for a
necessarily,
hiring?
not necessarily. I mean, your credit score, your credit score is tough because it's a nightmare.
And why is it such a nightmare?
Because
Why is it such a
I don't
nightmare to
know.
work
It's the
with? Because a
dumbest.
lot of times there are things that are false in it, and you're dealing with 3 separate companies, and you've got to work with all 3 of them to get this stuff worked out. So we've made a cash grab for this new company thing of like, oh, we'll go and we'll work on your credit score with you, and we'll help you figure these things out. So it's like they've created their own system. Pay us.
You know what? You know what the
and
credit score
we'll take
is.
this number that we gave you that you have no effect over, and we can fix it. It's the same thing of breaking the window and telling you pay me to not break your window.
Right, but it's also just something that we do.
It's something that we've accepted.
No. It's something that we
so
do.
we do.
No, it's something that we do. And I can my argument for that is look at World of Warcraft. And the reason I say that is because if you are no, you're grinning at me, but
I don't really understand World of Warcraft that much.
you don't have to. For my point, I'll give you enough details for you to know. If you are a raid leader in World of Warcraft, the first thing that you are looking at is somebody's gear score, somebody's eye level. That's their gear score. It's essentially their credit score. It's how valuable they are as a character, as just a character. That's all it is. It is a completely transparent number in that it takes all of the gear or all of your debt or all of your credit. It averages it all out in a certain way and gives you an arbitrary number based off. Now it's eye level, so it's different. But gear score was an arbitrary number. It gives
because it feels like the first person I'd hook up with in a game like World of Warcraft would be my friends.
Oh no! I'm talking if you're running an end game raid team.
I don't know what that means, but
like end game, like
I feel like
people
even in any situation where I'm playing a game with other people, the first people I'm going to gravitate towards are the people that I'm friends with.
Right. But you're talking gears, you're talking credit score on a professional level. I'm talking WoW on a quote unquote professional level. If you're somebody like FTR, Forgot to Repair, who was one of the top guilds for a while. Like they don't care if they're friends with the people they play with. They want the best of the best in the role so they can be world first. It's a profession at that point. It's a job. So that's why that score is important. What that score doesn't say is it doesn't say how reliable that person is to be on and make it on time. It doesn't say how actually good of a player that is. Maybe they got carried. Who knows? There are a lot of things that arbitrary number doesn't say. But
it doesn't say if they're a Leroy Jenkins.
Right. But we still use that number as a first impression. It's your profile picture on Instagram. It's the first impression. And we use that number to judge throughout. And that's what companies and banks and everybody else does with your credit score.
Isn't it weird then that you don't have control or more control over what that number is, and that number can have all these things that affect it that you have to sit and fight when they weren't actually truthful or have nothing to do with you yourself? You have to put money and time invested to make this better, and then it can still get fucked up a week later.
But again,
because
I think
of some bullshit bank saying you did something that you didn't do, or you put in a late payment that you didn't pay late, and you have to fight your way out of that score over and over again.
Yeah, but I still...
Isn't it weird that we put so much value into something that is not about you as a person, and just we gave the rights to some companies to do it for society?
But I think you're talking the exception to the rule again. I don't think
I feel like it's the rule.
I don't think the majority
because there wouldn't be so many credit monitoring commercials and services out there if that wasn't the case. And when we see one of the 3 companies lose all that shit, and not have any repercussions for it,
right? Okay,
I feel like those companies aren't trustworthy.
Yeah, no, I mean it's tough. I mean credit sucks, and it's. Yeah, no, I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, I don't disagree. I don't think it's every situation, but I don't disagree that those situations exist.
It's your one job.
I mean, everything on my credit score is there because of me. So I'm not a victim of fraudulent credit activity. But I know somebody that I know somebody I work with who I won't disclose, who fought and
Really?
fought
You're
and
protecting their privacy?
huh? Yes,
You're
because
protecting
you
their
have no
privacy.
business. I hate you. No, but no, he fought and fought and fought with a lawyer because there was a bunch of debt his ex-wife had racked up that was on his credit score, and he's like, no, I'm not paying that. Get it off my fucking credit score. Credit report, so he had to fight and fight and fight for that. So
No, that's a very
happens.
serious thing, because
Yeah.
being married myself, I've signed up for credit cards that, the benefits of the credit cards my wife gets because she's with me and everything, but the detriment of the credit cards, if they don't get paid, lands on her too, because I signed us both up. Was anything really looked at to make sure that she was okay with what I was signing up for? No.
Right.
That's on us. That's in our relationship. So it's very awful that can be done, that a spouse can do that to their significant other and create these problems for them, so often without their knowledge. But that's, again, the broken system. And if we have these companies that are in charge of so much stuff that can be so detrimental to your life, why do we not have higher expectations of them?
Right. Now, Beatmaster says you can check the credit, you can check the raid leader score to decide if you want to join the team. Can you check the owners of social networks, Google, Equifax score too in return? You actually, you could. Well, I guess, but like in my example, I was using the example of like if you want to be on the number one WoW rating guild in the world, you don't have the option to check their gear score. They're number one. They're on a board. They're number one. It doesn't matter if they're assholes. It doesn't matter if they're pricks. It doesn't matter if they treat you like utter garbage. If you want to be on the number one raid team, that's it.
Ask some of the Overwatch elite gaming people who are out there doing the professional gameplay,
okay.
if it matters or not, if you're an asshole.
No. Professional gaming, when you're talking about ad revenue and sponsorships, that's different. You have an image to uphold. I'm talking about just being on a team in a game. No live streaming, no marketing. I'm simply talking about having your name on the name of the roster that was world first on what is it, like wowrank.com or whatever, like the one that ranks all the guilds, like to have your name on that roster. That was my point. Like once you get into market value, that's a completely different thing. But yeah, no, but you have that same option. You don't want to deal with assholes? Don't be on the number one raid team. You don't want to deal with privacy? Don't be on social media. But
that's the problem, is that we've already established that it's not always your choice. If you don't want to deal with privacy, don't be on social media, because someone else can put you on social media and you have no out from it. Remember Foursquare?
Only if you're... What do you mean, remember? I use it. I check in on my watch everywhere I go.
Of course you do. You're so cute. So
it's actually not Foursquare anymore. It's called... what's it called now? Swarm, it's called. Foursquare is now like Yelp.
Right.
And they're checking.
But one of the things that happened with Foursquare and other things like it was that you could not only check yourself into a place, you could check other people into a place.
Yeah, you tag them into the check-in.
Whether they were there or not.
Okay,
you
but
tag people
don't be an
and
asshole.
Then they would have to explain things. Don't be an asshole. But funny how it is that someone being an asshole takes it completely out of your hands whether or not you're going to get blamed for being in a place that maybe you shouldn't have been. Maybe you had established, hey, honey, I'm going to this movie over here, and your friends check you into a concert, and she's like, why does it say that you're at this fucking concert? And you have to explain yourself to your wife about what the hell your friends did. Why should they have the right to do that? Why should companies give people the right to do that to somebody else?
Because some people are okay with that. And
some people are, and that's an opt-in. An opt-in is something where you've made the conscious choice that I'm okay with.
No,
this.
you opt in.
But that's companies opt out.
Yeah, no, you should.
Dude,
we'll argue about this all night. The opt-in shit is such bullshit. You opt in when you agree to the terms of service. Go into the site.
No, that's the problem. Is sometimes you don't agree to those things.
Everything I have done.
Tell me how many times you've read the end user license agreement on everything that you've signed up for.
Never a single word, and that's on me. That's on me, not the company.
Right.
That's on me.
But when the company then changes the end user, what if you're the person who reads it and goes through all that stuff. And then at the end, you're like, okay, fine, I'm cool with this. And then they upgrade the terms and they don't communicate it with you, or they hide them and they're packaged down.
As far as I'm aware, every service I've ever used that has a terms of service agreement, when those terms are updated, you get a little pop-up. Whether you
as far as you're aware, as a person who doesn't read any of them.
Well, no, because I get that annoying fucking pop. Do you have any idea how annoying it is now because of people like that? That, like, when I install a new video game, I have to scroll all the way to the fucking bottom of all that language to hit accept. They don't let you hit. They don't let you.
Contents in the coffee cup are hot.
They don't let you hit accept.
Some stuff is stupid to us because we know better, but it's not stupid to somebody else who maybe doesn't.
No, but I'm saying I have to do all that because other people are. It's too long. Yeah, it's too. No, it is, dude. I've bought what this Civic is. I bought one car in a private sale, and then I had the Neon, the Eclipse, the Subaru. So I'm on car 5. One of them was private sale. Of those 4 cars that I've bought from a dealership, I've never read a single word of the contract. I just signed the paperwork and go.
And so that contract for your Subaru lease says every Friday we hold the option to have someone come and digitally manipulate your asshole for 20 minutes, wherever you're standing, sitting, or eating. Just come up, shove their finger straight up your ass, dig around for about 20 minutes time, and then walk away, no questions asked. You're okay with sign the contract.
I would have signed it faster.
Yeah, I'm sure you would have.
No, but again, that's not on them.
Is it on? Is it not?
No, it's on me for not reading it.
No.
It's
on both of you.
No,
it's on you for not paying more attention.
No, it's not.
But it is on them because they will put in stuff that is hidden in subtext, that is written by a lawyer to make it unrecognizable by a layman,
right?
Who doesn't have a law degree to figure it out what it all means,
because they are still within their legal bounds.
Hide it in books of text so that you won't want to read it.
Nobody reads it.
Nobody does because they've made it so that we won't.
Right. So
if they put it in simple language in easy to read terms, maybe people would, and it would make a lot more sense, and we would know what we were getting into.
Hold on. Facebook told Cambridge Analytics to delete their data because they got it in a way that was against their terms of service. So users comply to the terms of service, but they're all. It's like, I don't know. It's tough, man. It's like it's hard. I wouldn't say like it's a chicken or the egg thing, but it's hard. Like, I was having, not to bring religion back up because it's not really about religion, but like there was a conversation about mega churches, right? And the one that was talked about was Joel Osteen, which is good because everyone fucking knows who he is. I don't blame Joel Osteen at all. I don't blame him at all. He saw a market and he fucking sold to it. I don't think Joel Osteen believes in God. If he did, he wouldn't be that much of a corrupt son of a bitch. Maybe he does. I don't know. That's my personal opinion. But I don't blame him. He saw a market and he took advantage of it. Like, I don't.
So people who call senior citizens and say that they're from Microsoft.
No, that's conning.
Hold up, because this is where you were going. And they call those people and they say, hey, I'm from Microsoft. There's a virus on your computer. I need you to go to this website. Give me access. I will clear it up for you. It'll all be taken care of. And then they steal all the information. Now, they're letting them in. There was a market for it to come and protect me from these bad viruses on Microsoft.
That's a crime.
It is a crime. And why is it not a crime to lie to people to take their money in the name of God?
But is he lying? Maybe he speaks through God. Can you prove it otherwise?
Right. So it's a proof thing. So, hey, who says I didn't remove that virus when I was getting your credit card info?
But my point being is, like, so you can't. So South Park did an episode a couple of years back where South Park did an episode a couple of years back it had Apple and Steve Jobs was on there and everyone got a new iPhone and nobody read the terms of service, and everyone just signed it. And then they ended up like taking Cartman and like two other people to make like the iCentipad or something like that, which was like an iPad constructed of like three people that were stitched together as a centipede. So like the data would have to be entered in like the one in back's ass, and then it would like go through all three of them, and then like it would get entered on the iPad. And like the whole episode was all about read the fucking terms of service, because we can put whatever the fuck we want in there. And like that's the whole thing. Like one of the scenes in the episode is Steve Jobs goes up to Eric and he's like, "Hey, I'll let you out. You just have to sign this." And it's this book of stuff. And Eric just flips to the last page and signs it. He's like, "Why the fuck didn't you read it?" He goes, "Have I not taught you anything?"
I don't deny that. I don't deny, but I do believe that we've been trained to not read it. We haven't been
trained. We're just fucking lazy. We're lazy.
But they put in a contract that is so long because they expect us to not read it.
Because they know we're lazy.
And they put it in terms that we don't understand because they expect us not to go to fucking law school to figure out how to make that stuff make sense.
And we all have iPhones.
I'm not going to pay a lawyer $50 an hour to read my goddamn iTunes agreement.
Right. No, you're not.
But
wrong.
Apple sure as fuck pays a billion lawyers thousands of dollars an hour to write a contract so that I would have to do that.
But do you think, in your opinion, that of the millions of terms of service agreements that are out there, how many of them do you actually think are harmful to the end user?
I feel like they all have the ability to be harmful to the end user, and it's how it's implemented. If Facebook could get away with a lot more than they do, and that's why they always push the envelope.
Right.
And that's why they always backtrack and say, "Oh, we're sorry, we really fucked up." And then they do it again a year later in a new way, but it's the same thing. And then they make the same apology over and over again. That stuff is in the terms of service. It never really changes. It gets reworded, and they change how they might implement that thing to do it. But realistically, no, because there's no oversight to them. That was the whole thing of what happened with Facebook and the Cambridge Analytica thing, and what everybody wanted to see happen. I don't know that everybody knew what they wanted to see happen. I think they just wanted to see Mark Zuckerberg on TV because some people are fascinated by him because we want to see if he's turned into a real boy yet. But for the most part, I think that they, at best, their expectations is that we're going to get some oversight in these companies that have our data behind a wall that we can't see, and we can figure out why it's so valuable and why we're letting them have it, and if there's actually anything to it that we should take back. But that's not what happens. That's never what happens. And so we have a company like Apple that says, "Oh, we respect your privacy. We don't take this data and keep it," but we still take the data. You know, we know that we've got the data. And when you've got the government saying to Apple, "We want a backdoor through encryption so that when there's a problem, we want you to give us the key and open that up." And it's like, that's great, but that means that everybody else can be exposed with that same key. So it's an issue because realistically, somebody has access. And you have to determine at the moment that access is something that you should be okay with being allowed. Because it's not just the one company. That one company is going to get exposed to other companies. Other people are going to get access to it through them. If they don't protect themselves, if Facebook doesn't protect your data, then they're not a good company. If Amazon doesn't protect your data, they're not a good company. But in all the stuff we've given to Amazon, we've made them rich enough that all the other companies have gone away. So you're losing your mom and pop stores close to you that you can actually buy shit at because you just buy it on Amazon. And then Amazon's like, "Hey, by the way, we're just going to anally fuck you 20 minutes every Friday." And you're like, "Well, that sounds terrible. I don't want to agree to that. Oh, where the hell else am I supposed to go buy my shit? Best Buy closed."
See, and again, I feel like that. I mean, I know you were being facetious, but I feel like that's a conspiracy thing. Like,
no.
Like, they're just trying to eliminate all the competition so they can have their way with us.
Well, absolutely. That is sort
Like,
of the thing. It may not
That's
be
like that's
in the.
so.
in
Are
the
you saying that
pitch.
we are in an abusive relationship with all of these companies?
Yes,
Because
we
that's
absolutely are.
like-
Because they punch us in the face and we crawl back to them saying, "I can
I was gonna
change it."
say, because that's essentially what you've come like. You basically, in other terms, we are in a relationship with them where they make us feel so like, yes, in the literal example, stores are going away. Basically, at the ground level, our opportunities are being removed. Whereas, like in an abusive relationship, someone may lower your self-esteem so much that you don't feel like you have any other options. So we're basically in an abusive relationship with these companies that are trying to buy and sell us.
Yes.
See, I don't think I'm not that negative, man. I'm not that pessimistic.
I think you're pessimistic in your own ways. But
Or I'm just totally okay with being bought and sold.
you are absolutely
Just
okay
buy
with
me,
being
just
bought and
buy
sold.
me coffee after.
You're okay with it because you have the means to enjoy the things that they give you, and that's fine. It's okay to be into it. It's all right. You know, everybody's got their kinks, man. If this is your kink, go for it.
I push back, man.
Look, I just worry that in not taking privacy seriously is that we're demeaning the value of it, not just for ourselves, but for everyone. And at some point, we're going to look around and say, well, shit, you know, it's like an unlocked door. So Amazon wants access to your house. You know, so they've got the ability to have your doors unlocked so they can come in and drop stuff off. Now, perfect world scenario, Amazon comes in, drops off your shit. You're happy. You get home and no one's stolen your package off your front porch. Or guy goes in, masturbates on your potted plants, you know, pushes your cat around a little bit.
When you buy
that kind of stuff.
When you buy the lock, it comes with a camera that you can monitor 24/7.
And it's really adorable that you think that that person isn't going to be able to disable that camera or change the footage.
See,
because who runs that camera?
See, I'm not
Amazon.
that paranoid.
Why are you not?
Why are you?
Because all of these corporations, again, are made up of individuals. And individuals can be good or bad. Individuals can be the people who lift you up when you need it or push you down when you need the most help.
I think ultimately what it comes down to, and we don't have to wrap up, but I think this is I mean we're on 2-ish hours, but I mean I'm good, but I'm just saying I think the broad spectrum of this, and I think it's a lesson that I have, and maybe I kind of knew. I mean I was a little overzealous. I mean I get the bigger picture in a lot of ways, but I think what it comes down to is it's like anything else in a way. It's like the racism or the sexism or the police brutality or anything like that. Just because you as an individual may not be faced with a problem because of it doesn't mean it's not a problem.
Right. And just because I trust police officers doesn't mean that there's not bad police officers out there.
And I think in either way, a blanket statement is bad. Not all cops are racist. Not all cops aren't racist. Not all companies are looking to screw you. Not all companies are looking to not screw you. Like it's
not all Uber drivers will murder and rape you in the woods, but some Uber drivers
will murder and rape you in the woods.
Yeah.
Is it creepier if they murder you and then rape you, or if they rape you and then murder you? Like, is it creepier?
I don't know which is worse for me. I feel like they're both bad in their own way.
They are, but I mean, like, is it creepier if they're violating a corpse? Or is it like is it humane because they murdered you first and didn't put you through the torment?
I feel like no matter what, I'm going to be almost dead.
I wanted to I wanted to harness a little bit of Brandon because that seems like something he would say. Fuck Snowden. Snowden's a criminal. He needs to come back here and be locked up.
By the way, Harnessing Brandon is the sex show we're going to do after this.
There we go. I don't care how much you agree or disagree with Snowden. The way he went about doing it was illegal. The man belongs in jail. Uh, he anyway, yeah, no, I think the thing it comes down to is there's no blanket. There's no like it's a problem. It's a bigger problem for some. Uh, I mean, this might even come back to the whole like it's white guys on the internet trying to solve the world's problems. Like I am a white guy and Native American when it's convenient, and I don't have anything like I have an honest job with honest kids, and I do things by the book, and I don't pirate things. I pay my taxes anymore because I can afford them. I do things by the book. I don't care. Like I'm a good little soldier that falls in line because
the only thing that I have to say to you is what happens when someone decides to rewrite the book.
Then I fall in line because I don't own.
Are you sure?
Because I don't own this country.
Well,
like I live here and I follow the rules of the country.
You have problems with certain books as it is. And so what if that book becomes the book that everybody has to follow?
Well, then you rise up. No, I don't know. You know, it's funny. Somebody asked me that not too long ago. Like what happens like if it like it was because with this whole Trump thing, like they were really trying to enforce like a lot of religious law in a lot of places. And like, well, what are you gonna do? I'm like, I don't know. Like I don't know. Like what are they gonna do if like I work for the government? If I can't work there as an atheist, like what would you do? Like I don't know. I don't know. I don't. And like I don't know. I don't have an answer. I would figure it out, or I'd try to at least, or I would die trying. I don't know.
And that's the thing is that this privacy issue is not your problem. It's an SEP. It's someone else's problem.
Right.
But at some point it could be your problem because we have to protect other people. If we want these protections for ourselves in the long run, and it may be that we never get affected because we are white or look white, and we're men or look like men,
or
whatever
we're straight
that case,
or we're straight or look like we're straight.
Being very giving to yourself on that one. In the end, it's the same thing of like, I can't have rights someone else doesn't have, because then what is the worth of my rights? If I'm willing to say that it's only okay for me and not okay for somebody else, then those rights should definitely be taken away from me at some point, and probably will. And so when I talk about issues of privacy, it may not be that I have the issue with privacy. Yeah, but I do feel like I have to protect other people.
See, but when you start talking about it in the form of rights and like rights being taken away, that's another argument for another show. But like, I mean, that's tough just because like, I mean, that's the whole gun thing. Like, oh, it's our right. Well, yeah, but kids are getting murdered, so fuck off with your rights. Like, there needs to come a time where what is better for society supersedes your personal individuality. And if without harming too many, like fucking get rid of guns already. Sorry. I know it's not what this episode's about, but I'm tired of seeing kids get murdered. I have 3 kids. Fucking get rid of guns. We can talk about that another episode if you want. If it becomes a point where like everybody being more transparent, then that's what becomes better. And if people have to give up their and do we have a right to privacy? Is that in the Bill of Rights anywhere? Like when did privacy become a right? It just became something that a bunch of people kind of desired, and they kind of made it a thing, and then they became all self-important. Like, when did it become a right? Like, who says we're entitled to privacy? I log on to a computer at work, and the first thing it says is everything you do on here can and will be viewed by somebody because you are on a government computer. I don't expect a right to privacy, but on that computer it says your right to privacy will not be honored.
Well, in that case, though, you're at your workplace. You're on somebody else's time.
Oh no! I get it, but my point is when did privacy become a right? Why are we all entitled to privacy? We are all lemmings for a bigger machine. We're all numbers in a system. When did the right to privacy become when did it become a right? When did it become so Like, when did it become an entitlement?
The right to privacy refers to the concept that one's personal information is protected from public scrutiny. U.S. Justice Louis Brandeis called it the right to be left alone. While not explicitly stated in the U.S. Constitution, some amendments provide some protections.
I would love to know. I mean, and we can kind of use that to kind of branch off to end the show. Like, I would love to know, when it comes down to the legal standpoint,
the Fourth Amendment.
What privacy are people legally entitled to?
That is the question. Is it so ill-defined, or is it so ill-protected that it no longer exists?
What is the Fourth Amendment? I don't know.
The Fourth Amendment is the right to privacy.
Right, but how is it worded? Because the right to bear arms has been bastardized and corrupted over the last 20 years.
Your Fourth Amendment right to privacy, the Fourth Amendment to the Constitution guarantees the right to be free from unreasonable searches and seizures, and is often argued as protecting our right to privacy.
So it mentions nothing about the internet.
That's the thing, is the internet fucking Wild West open playground that doesn't have to be succumb to the same laws? That's the question. That's what's coming up with the Facebook stuff and everything else. And what constitutes the internet? If we're talking about a digital package of your life with credit companies and with your digital currency ideas and things like that, are those considered internet as opposed to physical being? And do they not have or be applicable to the same laws as you would have walking into a physical place?
You know what?
You
know what the right to privacy is? This Fourth Amendment. It's innocent until proven guilty. Is essentially what it is.
Part of it.
That's. I mean, they're to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures. You are innocent until they can't assume your guilt and search you. You're innocent until proven guilty. They have to have probable cause. It doesn't mention corporations. It doesn't mention social media. It doesn't mention the internet. It's no different than how people like if I wanted to look at you and go. If I wanted to walk up to you at your place of work, I don't know if you work for the public outside of podcasting, but like if I wanted to walk up to you at your place of employment and go, "You're a fucking cocksucker," and then when they try and kick me out, go, no, freedom of speech. Well, no, that's not how freedom of speech works. You're bastardizing it for your own methods. Same thing with the right to bear arms. It clearly says in there, a well-organized militia. That doesn't mean every fucking redneck gets an arsenal. It means a well-organized militia. And they bastardize it for their own methods. The Fourth Amendment says nothing about corporations, says nothing about companies, says nothing about social media, nothing about the internet.
No, it doesn't say anything about you giving up your right to privacy to a corporation or anything like that. But it does keep the legal aspects of it of if you don't choose to share this information.
But it doesn't, because it does not highlight any of those.
Compel you to.
It specifically says papers. So
that's a problem, because when this shit was written, guess what? We had papers. We didn't have a Commodore 64 rocking next to the guys who were creating this.
Well, I don't know. I read it on the internet, so obviously it was typed somewhere. That was clearly done on purpose. But do you see my point though? Like people are trying to turn it around to where
people are trying to apply it to life as it is today.
But but I think it needs to be legally.
It's like the Digital Millennium Copyright Act was to protect things that couldn't be protected in a physical format. So sure, if you have a VHS tape and you copy that VHS tape, then you are copying a movie physically. But to copy that onto the internet and then share it needed its own set of rules and laws.
Yeah, actually,
they could have just taken the whole thing and moved it on over and included the internet as part of it. They didn't choose to do that. So the question is do these laws need to be adjusted for the internet age? When we're talking about people's right to privacy or not to have their stuff exposed, like the revenge porn stuff and things like that, there are laws that need to be established now because the world is a different place than it was when these laws were written. The laws need to be changed to reflect that.
The problem is they need, I agree with you. But the problem is they need to be established by people who get it.
Right.
The problem,
And
the biggest
we
problem,
don't have a Congress or Senate that does.
no, the biggest problem with the Mark Zuckerberg thing was that nobody in that room other than Zuckerberg knew what the fuck they were talking about. So if you want to make privacy laws based off of social media and Snapchat and Instagram, or I guess social media and everything like that, they have to be made by people who are like 35 or younger. They can't be made by people who are paranoid by social media and Snapchat and Instagram. If you want to, because you can't make laws based off paranoia. You can be paranoid. You can always have one finger on the trigger and be ready to shoot the alien in the head because they're over there in New Mexico. Like, you can have your conspiracy theories. You can be paranoid, and certainly if you feel like that protects you and you feel comfortable with that, by all means. I mean, conspiracy theories are fun to listen to, but you can't make laws that affect everybody based off of conspiracy. And if you think the internet is out to get you, if you think Apple is out to steal all your money because you put your credit card on your watch, you're conspiratorial, and you shouldn't be making a law regarding digital fund transfer.
No, when I look at Apple and the Apple Pay, what I see is Apple trying to become a bank without having to be under the same rules as a bank.
They are. I can take money and I can send you money then that you can then use just using the Apple Pay cash.
And so for years and years, we've had banks and we put things into responsive. Banks have to do certain things to protect people and their money and their interests. And all these things are subjective because we realize, oh shit, they can do this. Probably shouldn't let them do that. Oh, they need to do this over here. Okay, we can make a rule where that's okay under certain circumstances, but they have to communicate these things. And when you have a company that usurps those rules by saying, well, we're not really a bank, but we're going to become the new bank, then that can be a problem. And you're right. If we have a Senate or a House or a president who doesn't understand this stuff, they don't get the cyber, then yes, there's
the
a
only
problem
cyber he knows is followed by sex.
What's that?
So the only cyber he knows of is followed by sex.
Right. But they can't really establish those laws. But what we saw with the Zuckerberg thing was that none of them really cared at all to begin with. They were up there to posture, to speak to their base, to make some silly question and point and try to look cool so they could get votes or money or whatever. But nobody was really trying to change anything because they weren't looking to protect the consumer or the user of Facebook or anything else. They just wanted to give Zuckerberg shit and look cool doing it so that they could go out on the campaign trail and have people come up and say, yeah, you really stuck into that Facebook guy. By the way, where can I find out more about your campaign? On Facebook. So if you, dear listener, have made it through all of this and you want to follow the show, we have a Facebook page. You can look up STFU Cast on the Facebook, or you can go to Ink Geek. Ink Geeks also have their own page.
Yeah.
You can follow us on the Twitter. I think there's probably an Instagram. I don't know.
No, there's no Instagram. I've consolidated all the Instagrams. Too many Instagrams.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough to keep up with that shit.
At least Instagram is one of those ones that let you stay logged into your accounts all at once and just hop between them. I hate having to like log out and log in and log out, and it's such a pain in the ass.
If only you could have someone just rip all your shit right off from the one page and post it everywhere for you.
Right? That'd be so nice. I need an intern. If you want to work for me and not get paid, I'll pull a I won't say their names, but there's another podcast studio that has basically begged people to work for them for free. I'm not going to go that route.
I mean, I would, but I know your credit score now, so
it's going up. I don't have a good credit score, but I have lots of pretty things to show for it.
Yeah, I feel like you are your own demon on that end.
I am. I am my own. I'm my own best and worst enemy. But yeah, no, that was a good. That I think that's a good place to close. By the way, we're on Facebook. Yeah. No, I mean, did you have anything else? Was that
no, man,
was that your closure? And I kind of derailed it. Or
No, that was absolutely fine. I'm just like, obviously I can get a little heated on this stuff. I'm sorry I went all caps for most of that
no,
discussion.
dude, it's all good, man. I rather enjoyed it. I like the show, and I'm excited to get back to it on a regular basis. The reason I like this show is because me, you, and then Brandon, when he makes it, uh, we can get. I mean, not vile, but we can get as heated or opinionated or passionate about a subject as we want, and because the three of us understand each other so well and have a respect for each other, at least to a point, um, we can walk away from the episode shaking hands and looking forward to the next one. Like I
Yeah,
don't ever think there's gonna. I mean, we might have fans that hate us or that are no longer fans. I would love for this show. Like if we don't get you guys, first off, what's the email? It's solutions at
STFUcast.com.
okay. So email us. That's where I would recommend. Like Twitter's great. I love Twitter, especially now that they doubled the characters because it's so much easier to post show links. But you're still less than 500 characters, and I would like if you just want to call us assholes or that we're idiots or we're white guys trying to solve the world's problems, then use Twitter. But like if you have something legitimate to say, email us. So you can, get your piece in. And when the show becomes more regular, which is starting this week, and we get more episodes under the belt, then I would love for that to happen. Not more like, and I'll appreciate all of it. Like people who like the show and and write in to give their opinions, or people who just want to like all caps us and not want a response and will never listen again. Because to me, and by all means, give your piece and tell me if you agree or disagree. But for the most part, even though we get comical and sometimes we talk about anal sex, these are problems. Regardless of whether I think it's a problem or you think it's a problem or Brandon or whatever the case may be, at the end of the day, we're talking about them in some way because they're a problem for somebody. Violence in video games and media and whatever that tangented it into a month ago. It's a problem for somebody, which is why it gets talked about, which is why we talk about it. And same with this privacy. Again, it doesn't affect me, but it affects the woman who was in a domestic abuse relationship. It affects somebody who's being stalked. It affects a lot of people. And as much as I was pro fuck piracy, like I'm not that ignorant. Like I get that. So again, even if you don't like us and you happen to listen to this episode and you've made it this far, then, holler at us, like, because it's still a problem and it's still an issue and it's still something that needs to be discussed and talked about. And if we can get you so passionate about our opinion on it to where you take the time to write in all caps to this little podcast, then vent there, but then use that energy and harness it towards the problem and how it affected you. And maybe eventually things will kind of fall into place, but it's not going to happen by itself. It's going to happen because as a society, even like Beat said a little back in the chat, like, who defines what's good for our society? Society does. The thing is we've become complacent in a lot of things. And if we want things to change, we need to not be so fucking complacent. We need to not just click accept for that 20-page TOS agreement. So write in. I mean, of all the shows we do, this is the one that I'm looking forward to the potential of having listener interaction the most, because I want to hear what people have to say.
I walk into the show certainly with my own opinions on the subjects, as we're going to discuss them. I walk out of the show hopefully finding out that I was not right on everything that I thought I was, because I want to expand how I think. And you don't expand by just having yes men. You expand by talking shit out, fighting shit out sometimes, and looking at stuff from a different perspective by the time you're done. And that's my hope. Are these problems really fixable? Not immediately. If we come up with an actual solution by the end, we're probably doing it as a joke. But we'd love to at least get a discussion going so that maybe we can find a path somewhere down the road together. And you know what? Call me on my bullshit. I like that. I'd rather have you say, I think you're wrong on this, than to just hold it in and say, fuck that guy. You know, that it's fine. It's your choice. But I bring this show across to have everybody involved. You know, so if you have questions, if you have things that are your problems that we haven't thought up, even better, send those in and let us try to work it out a little bit on air.
Right.
So solutions at stfucast.com. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, ain'tgeekstudios.com for everything else. And then, yeah, I mean, whatever. You can follow me, XCynicX, everywhere. So that's about what I got to say. I do want to say, really quick, as far as the chat room, Amy, you were great. Beatmaster, you were great. Zombie, I'll give Anime Zombie a shout out. Everyone follow twitch.tv/anime_zombie_1. He's a cool dude. He's from over the pond. He's part of the streamer group Skate Nation, which is SK8 Nation. It's the streamer community that I am newly a part of. So check him out. We play some Destiny together. He was playing some Battle Royale game the other night, and he hangs out in my stream a lot, so I wanted to make sure I give him a shout out. So go check him out. He's a cool dude. I've been, I took a break from streaming for a little while, but we've been gaming stream together for off and on for a while now, because it was, sometime last year that I ran into Team MZ and bumped into him in Acid. So, but yeah, no, I do want to say too, he said, I like it when people like what we do. I don't care if it's 1 or 100 or 1,000,000. I like when people like what we do everywhere. Like, it's a lot of fun. And, he said a little while ago, I'm off to bed, guys. Good night. And then he just typed something else. So what we were talking about was compelling enough for him to retract his good night. And I like that. I like when people enjoy what we do, and it's a lot of fun. So I will turn that into, I'm not going to do a Patreon pitch, because again, as if you listening to other stuff from before the break, you'll know that Patreon's cool. And like, if you want to look it up, that's fine. But if you enjoy this show or anything else, tell somebody else. Tell somebody else who you think might enjoy the show. I'm aware this is episode 2 a month later. Again, I apologize for life things. Life happens. I put out a tweet saying like something about like it sucks to have life happen like the day after the first episode of a new show or something like that. But it's back. It's here. It's going to be regular. Brandon's schedule's wishy-washy, especially being a milkman in the summertime. So he's going to get busy, and life is changing for him too, which I will not disclose on the internet because of privacy reasons.
Nothing like milk on a hot day.
Right. All ice cream and things like that. But anyway, yeah, so if you like the show or any shows here, tell somebody, tell a friend, tell someone who might disagree with us. And they might
show them on the dial where the show touched you.
Yeah, exactly. If you agree with this show or this particular episode or any episode of this show you listen to, show it to somebody that, or have someone listen to it who doesn't agree. Or if you don't agree but you still enjoy us, let somebody who does agree listen to it. Like, spread the love of the show, because the show will grow with the growth of its audience. And
I would be totally satisfied if the topic was just something that sparked a conversation with you and your friends tomorrow on like work lunch or on a Friday night where you're hanging out gaming. If you're just like, so I listened to this dumbass show and these guys were talking about privacy and I think this, and you guys just run off in your own course.
Yeah.
Even if we never hear about it, if it gets you thinking, that's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a lot of fun, and it's cool. So a big thank you to the Twitch audience. You guys always kick ass. And it's so many of you, after being gone for like 3 weeks, the handful of you that showed up at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday night. Growly Bear, I know it's like 1 PM on Wednesday for you right now, so you're a trooper. I hope your day at work is going well. But Growly kicks ass, man, doesn't he? Growly is like always fucking there.
Always there, man.
So, all right, cool. Are you any more sign off, or are we good?
We're good.
Cool. Thank you, everybody. We will see you. It should be Saturday on Mind of a Geek with Kate Strollo and company from the Franchise Friends podcast.
Great
and then
podcast.
It is a really good podcast. She was a guest on Mind of a Geek. And,
Yes.
Annalisa. Yeah, so sorry. She's like, figures I'd come in at the end. It's like 1 a.m. Fuck. Yeah, and then Indie Case Files is coming back. I don't know if Amy's still awake and in chat, but I believe we're doing Mini Metro and Transport Fever. I think we're going to stick with those and then kind of change up the schedule, and we're working things out. It's summer now, so summer is different, but yeah, that's it. InkedGeekStudios.com for everything else. So I am going to sign off and go to bed. So for Corey, for myself, wait, am I doing the sign off or are you doing the sign off? Who's doing the sign off?
You do the sign off, man. You were just running.
I know.
I was just waiting for you to get the music.
I got a lot of talking to do, man. It's been 3 weeks. For Corey, for myself, and for the rest, and for the absentee Brandon, we'll get him his absentee ballot on what he thinks. For the rest of Inked Geek Studios, thank you all very much for listening, and we will see you guys next week.
And until next time, why don't you STFU?
So goodbye, planet Earth, would it be okay if I got on my knees and I started to pray? Goodbye, planet Earth, I got nothing to say, said thanks for all the friends that I made. Goodbye, planet Earth, would it be okay if I got on my knees and I started to pray? Goodbye, planet Earth, I got nothing to say, said thanks for all the fish in the rain.
You've been listening to an Inked Geek Studios podcast. For this and other great shows, go to inkedgeekstudios.com.